This week on the show, we review the first 2 episodes of Daredevil Born Again on Disney Plus and this year's Best Picture Oscar winner, Anora. All that and more in this edition of the Jock and Nerd Weekly for Monday, March 10th, 2025.
This is Frank Grillo. You know me, but who are you? Are you the discerning, sophisticated type of person who enjoys all the latest comic book and superhero TV and movie news? Pop culture references, witty banter? Me neither. I'm just here for the dick jokes.
Check. Check 1. Alright. This is for all you fans out there. Let's give it up.
Jock it, we nerd it. We funny, disturb it. We jock it, we nerd it. We spoiler alert. Oh yeah!
Oh yeah, what's up, listener? Thank you for pressing play, and welcome to the Jock and Nerd Podcast, where we give you comic book and superhero TV and movie news, reviews, and whatever we choose. Jock and Nerd. My name is Imran.
My name's Anthony.
He's the Jock.
And he's the nerd.
And joining us from an alley in Hell's Kitchen, he's the man without beer. Also, he puts the whore in Igor. It's Rugboy. What's up, Rugs?
I drink bourbon only. I drink it out of my hump.
He's the man without beer.
Yes.
That's because he's drinking bourbon.
I'm a humpback. What's that called when you have a hump on your back?
Hunchback.
A hunchback of
hunchback.
Notre Dame.
He's a humpback.
He's a humpback
I'm a
whale.
whale. I'm a whale.
He's a whale.
I echolocate.
I feel really bad if you're a humpback whale and you have a hunchback. That's just like nature.
Well, I just like
don't
humping. I like humping people's backs.
Sure.
Yeah. I'm
Why
like I'm like a puppy. I
Yeah, my
just
dog
do
loves
that.
to do that. It's hilarious.
He humps your front. He humps your back.
Humps your arm, humps your back. If it's a girl, I don't understand what's
Oh.
happening.
A throw pillow.
Yes.
Sometimes. Yeah.
Well, look, girl dogs do hump, and we can't figure out why.
That's very
I
strange.
can tell you why.
Why? Dominance?
He's going to go somewhere that he can't say.
I
Okay,
can't. I
never
can't. I'm in a corner now. I can't say. All right, you figure it out, people at home.
We've reached
your homework.
We've reached the end of this joke. Let's get started, you bastards.
The Jock and Nerd Podcast.
We got 2 wonderful things to review for you this week. We're going to start with Daredevil Born Again. First 2 episodes on Disney
Preface
Plus.
why we're doing the first 2 episodes, because people are going to listen to this and go, there's a third one out, you morons.
So by the time you hear this, the 3rd episode will have come out. Yes. And last week I did say, we're not going to do this. It's because of the Tuesday release schedule really messes with our release schedule, where we record the day before and it comes out on Wednesday. And by that time, everybody's seen everything and we haven't, and we already recorded the show. But having watched the first 2 episodes, I was like, I need to talk about this. So it'll be just a nice way to get into what we think of this series so far. And then when it's done, we will discuss the whole season. With that being said, here's your spoiler alerts.
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
Prepare to be spoiled!
Also, watching this reminded me, Anthony, remember back in 2015, episode 7 of the Jock and Nerd Podcast. We reviewed the first season. Remember, we were so excited.
Oh, yeah.
And I drew.
We were trying to figure out how to do that, too.
Right, and then I drew us. That was when we had our faces on the art, and I drew us as Daredevils. It was a lot of fun. But
That was fun.
It's crazy that we have had Charlie Cox, Matt Murdock for 10 years, and now after the show ends in 2018 with season 3 in 2025, we're kind of getting a season 4. It's kind of crazy. It had good viewership launch. Apparently, Disney reporting. The first 2 episodes drew 7.5 million views in the first 5 days it was out. That's not bad. Comparable to last year, Agatha All Along, they reported 9.3 million views in the first week, in the first 7 days. So it's a big opening number, and I think it's tracking that way. We'll go through the 2 episodes and kind of some of the crazy shit that happens. But let's just start here. Overall, Anthony, how did it feel returning back to this show. I guess we also got to mention that this is the show that originally was not going to tie into the Netflix show, right?
Correct. Yeah, this was going to be more of a Marvel standalone, not standalone, but more single episodes threat, not really a through line throughout, and it was going to be 18 episodes. So quite different than what we're getting now.
We're getting 2 9-episode seasons, and then they also have brought back, we know from reports, obviously, Kieran Page, Foggy Nelson, Wilson Fisk, Charlie Cox, John Bernthal, Wilson Bethel as Bullseye. So now this is all in canon, and even this first episode kind of works as a bridge connecting episode. But what did you think overall, Anthony, watching this, of the tone, the action, the performances? Did it feel comfortable, familiar?
Yeah, overall, I enjoyed watching these 2 episodes. I didn't know we were reviewing this, so I didn't really write much down.
It's fine.
But yeah, I overall enjoyed watching these 2 episodes. It is a kind of a bridge between the Netflix stuff and the Marvel stuff, because they definitely reference a lot of Echo stuff, a lot of Hawkeye stuff, with Kingpin being gone and being shot in the face, and he mentions Echo at one point in these 2 episodes. But it also clearly is including the Netflix stuff too, and you can see that it's a bridge because it doesn't quite look like the Netflix stuff. Like, there's definitely more CGI, I think, and
right. Yep.
The visual flair is more in line with what Disney Marvel has done, but it also has a darker tinge as well, with violence and with the way it's just shot. So it's a mix of both, I would say. I think it's a mix of both. I would prefer it went leaned in full Netflix, but whatever. Beggars can't be choosers here. Overall, yeah, I liked it. I thought it was good. I think there's an intriguing hook in the first episode, which we can get to. Then there's a nice hook at the second episode, and I like the intrigue of Matt not being Daredevil, but now Kingpin being the mayor, and we don't really know what he's up to, and there's this distrust between the two because of all their history. So I think that's an interesting plot. We did open up with a banger episode, start with what happens to Foggy. So overall, I liked it. The action seems pretty good. CGI is a little spotty. I thought when you first see Daredevil swinging around, it looked a little weird.
Yeah.
I mean, it did not look real at some points.
Yeah.
So they're kind of going for this little hyper real Daredevil, which is a mix of the way Marvel and Netflix has done it. I guess I can live with it, right? Because that's how he is kind of in the comics.
Yeah.
So overall, I liked it. I don't know that it's at the same level as the original Netflix stuff, but it's not bad. And, we still have a lot more episodes. So overall, I did enjoy it. And I was planning to bring it up in What Are We Watching? So here we are.
Yeah, no, I had a busy week and I was like, let's just talk about Daredevil. So I do agree. It is a nice blend of like the Netflix and MCU in certain ways. Ruggs, how does this sit with you? Did you enjoy it?
Well, it's kind of limping along, if you ask me. I think it's it tried to start out strong, but it had that CGI feel, and it didn't have the impact that it needed. The story is fine. It's a slow burn.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to like really get momentum going, where like the first episode is like this thing that happens, and then second episode is all about kind of like Wilson Fisk becoming the mayor, and you got this White Tiger character that they should have had a shot of him as White Tiger before they did all of this.
He was on the television in the first episode.
That's not enough.
Yeah.
That's not enough.
In the bar.
Yeah. They should have really, I don't know. It would have been cooler to see.
I have a guess on that real quick while we're on that.
Yeah.
My theory on that is the White Tiger stuff might have been part of what they originally shot.
Yeah.
And then when they had to reshoot it, the guy was dead.
Yes. So, yes, the actor, it's a crazy thing. Camar de los Reyes passed away of cancer late 2023, right after shooting this show. And they dedicate the second episode to him. It's so crazy. But yeah.
Crazy. Well, nonetheless, it was kind of milquetoast because of whatever reason. Like if his death was a part of it, or the reshoots were a part of it. it didn't make for a great introduction to the character. But the tone was fine. It was like Anthony said, it's not quite Netflix. It's more akin to Moon Knight. The first couple episodes of Moon Knight, and like in the violence, he beats up the guy in the bathroom.
Yeah.
So it's got kind of that tone, but it's fine. It's got a definite viewpoint, and it's grungy enough.
It's gritty, grounded.
Yeah, sure. So I'm okay with it. I'm not like over the moon about it, but I'm okay. I'm hoping that it's going to hit its stride. And you had Bullseye versus Daredevil, and it was like underwhelming.
I mean, I think there's going to be more, but I thought it was a banger of a way to get back in to this show. I enjoyed it. I'm digging it so far. I do think the same. It's the blend of the tone. The action is decent. Charlie Cox.
What interests you the most about this show?
I feel like the second episode is more intriguing, and there's stuff in there that I'm more into. The first episode, to all your guys' points, was absolutely rewritten to be like this bridge, and some of the decisions that they made are kind of weird, but a lot of the rework was done on the first episode.
So they probably shot like a whole thing, a season with Foggy, and then they reshot it and killed him off.
Well, I don't even think Foggy was in it. The reshooting was putting these guys in it to tie it.
Yeah, I don't think Foggy was in it originally.
Yeah.
Or Karen Page. Yeah. So I think that's why you see them briefly, and I think for the most part, they're not going to be around.
Well, there's a couple of interesting things about that. But overall, I felt it was very confident for what it knows what it wants to do. It was very stylish, atmospheric with all the smoke and the fight scenes. And it's working as episodic television better.
Yeah, I agree.
Than some of their other shows have been, because
it feels like a TV show.
Yes,
not like one movie that's cut up.
Because they have a showrunner.
To Ruggs' point on like what I'm liking, and that, Imran, you probably will agree. I think they're doing a good job of leaning into that. Like the show is always centered around Matt and Kingpin,
right?
And I like the dynamic here of Matt trying to be just a lawyer, and Kingpin trying to be a mayor. So you have both of these guys that are shutting off maybe the stronger parts of their personality to do good, but we don't really know how that's going to play out. So I think their dynamic still is intriguing. Like them in the diner talking to each other, I think that's an awesome scene.
I mean, the first episode has 2 great scenes. All right, well, look, let's get into the first episode. It's called Heaven's Half Hour. The reason, Ruggs, it reminds you of Moon Knight, it is directed by Aaron Moorhead and Justin Benson, who have done episodes of Moon Knight and Loki. So they've been on some of these MCU shows. And this one is written by showrunner Dario Scardapane, is the guy who came in later to take over creatively and tie it back into Netflix canon. And essentially it like picks up right after season 3 of Daredevil. Now, I feel like if you did not watch those shows, this whole episode might be a little bit confusing, because there is a post-credit scene at the end of season 3 where after Bullseye, I think Matt or Fisk breaks his back or whatever, they are augmenting his spine, you see, to be stronger, which explains why he doesn't die when he's fucking tossed off the roof. So
that's what happened?
Yes. I think that's what's going on.
Because at the end of the 3rd season, they did that.
Yes. So it's weird, because if you didn't watch that and you're just watching these Marvel shows on Disney Plus and you just start watching this, I think you're going to be quite lost.
Pretty lost.
Because they don't set up Karen or Foggy. It's literally, you're hanging out with them again. You're expected to just know them. But
I think that's good though, because it doesn't insult. I think
it's a hard.
They're
thing
really
to do.
trying to play into the fact that this is still related to Netflix. I think that's their hook.
But if you talk about the homework problem with the MCU, you have now just added 34-hour-long episodes of a TV show as homework before you jump into this one.
That's
kind of.
Well, that's like anything, right?
It is.
So
you can always watch a YouTube video.
You can watch a YouTube. Yes, and all those shows are on Disney Plus too, which is crazy.
There's also a lot of references to, as I was mentioning earlier, Echo and Hawkeye.
Nobody
they mention why he's gone.
Yes,
and that he has his eyes and another girl. All that stuff is mentioned.
That's a great line. We'll get into that. But I don't think anybody fucking watched Echo, so that's going to be confusing. A couple of things I love right away in the when the scene hanging out, Foggy takes that call. There's a problem. Did you notice the aspect ratio changing when Matt is using his hearing powers, like it's letterboxed, and then suddenly it opens up and down full screen. It's fantastic.
I thought that was interesting because they didn't do that in the Netflix stuff.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how they show his powers. We saw different things in the Netflix stuff, right? Like kind of the radar.
Well, they would hint that he could hear things, but like here they're really honing in on the fact that he can hear things really far away and hone in on different things.
And he can listen to like a bunch of conversations at once.
Right.
Kind of. Anyways, Bullseye lures Daredevil away so he can snipe and kill Foggy. Gets shot in the chest. And you notice he doesn't shoot Karen. This is very weird. And then two people come out of Josie's bar. He pops them both in the head. Headshot for them, chest shot for Foggy. Okay, it's a little weird. And he shows up, and what we get is kind of an incredible 4-minute long oneer action scene. I mean, presented as a oneer. Obviously, they didn't shoot it like this. But I will agree, though, Anthony, the CGI is a little weightless. As cool as it is to see him swinging around like Spider-Man, like Daredevil.
Very weightless.
It's very weightless.
When he first lands, when you first see him, it's like he plops into the
bounces
wall
off the wall,
and bounces, and then lands, and it looked really bad.
Because like when he hits the wall, he like kind of gets stuck for a second, and then he drops down.
Right.
And I was like, you didn't really even need to do that in CGI. You could have had a dude do that. But this all leads to some great editing where the oneer fight scene is going. It's brutal. You're pushing in and out of the bar, up the stairs to the roof, but also you can hear what Matt hears, which is Foggy's heartbeat. And apparently Foggy's heartbeat stops. Matt is distraught, and you want him to do this, and you're like, you shouldn't do this, but he does. Tosses Bullseye off the fucking building. What did you guys think of this action scene in this opener? I thought it was fucking ballsy. I did not expect Foggy kind of to die right away.
I feel like it tried, but it ultimately was just okay. It was just nothing great. I don't think it was great. I thought it was okay. It did its job. I've seen better fight scenes in Daredevil.
You think though it's not on par with the Daredevil?
I feel like no, it wasn't. I feel like that the CG kind of muddled things up, and then the action in and of itself. I mean, I liked the juxtaposition of him hearing the heartbeat, and that made it more intense. And it intensified the moment, but what was actually happening on screen wasn't really that impressive. It was like he had a bunch of stuff sticking out of him.
He had like 8 knives coming out of him.
It was just,
what kind of armor is this?
It didn't have as much impact as I wanted it to. But you know what? It wasn't bad. I can't say it was terrible.
Yeah, I agree with Ruggs. The fight scene was all right. We've seen better one shots. Obviously, that first season had a really good one shot.
Yeah.
And we've seen a better fight between Bullseye and Daredevil in that third season in the Office. I thought was better, where he's throwing office things at him.
Oh, right, yeah.
So this one was okay, but it's not to say this one was bad. It was entertaining. I think it's still always fun. I think it's always going to be fun seeing him fight Bullseye, just because Bullseye's this, he's got this power where he's just dead on with everything. I think Bullseye is always a fun character to have, but the real hook there is Foggy dying, right? So that's what they want to make you have that connection to Foggy in the first season, all those 3 seasons of Netflix, and then immediately go, okay, we're killing one of your favorite characters.
Yeah. I mean, they have great chemistry hanging out, and it kind of got me. I was like, oh shit, I didn't expect this. Not Foggy. No, but we'll talk about it later. There's some Easter eggs about what maybe is going on. But this is the catalyst, right? Possibly the ramifications for things that happen now.
The catalyst, because now because the whole season is born again. And right now, Matt is not Daredevil a year later because of the fact that it got too close to home and Foggy died because of him. Yeah,
it immediately cuts to 1 year later, Matt has quit, and now he's working with that girl, Kristen McDuffie, at Murdoch and McDuffie. He testifies at Bullseye's trial. That's kind of a fun scene because he's like, I'm not usually on this side of things. And then Karen, I guess they haven't been talking. She's mad at him. And she's like, I'm going to San Francisco. So they bring these 2 characters that everybody wanted, and they write them the fuck off. Interesting choices.
I think that's because they weren't supposed to be in the show.
Yeah, but the showrunner has said that both Karen and Foggy will be back for season 2.
Okay, good.
Also, there's an Easter egg that the address of where their Murdoch Nelson Page is the issue of a comic book at Daredevil. There's a storyline called The Secret Life of Foggy, where he fakes his death and goes into witness protection. I don't know if that's what they're going to do, because it is odd that it's not a headshot. It's a chest shot. Like if it's bullseye, if he wanted him dead, I don't know.
Yeah, he probably got it as close to the heart as possible.
Something's going on there.
Yeah.
So anyways, we pick up. Oh, and it's cute how Kristen sets up Matt on this blind date with this new love interest, therapist Heather Glenn. I kind of like that setup where they were each told that she told me I needed a therapist. She told me I needed a lawyer.
It was cute, yeah.
Yeah. Again, Matt and Spider-Man, Peter Parker, they're always getting the chicks in these shows. He's got a body count. And they're all from the comics too. Heather Glenn, Kristen McDuffie. These are all characters from the comic books. So we pick up on Kingpin's business, and his wife Vanessa has taken over. She's running things. And then I love this scene where they're all sitting around the table talking about business, and Wilson walks in. He didn't say anything, do anything. He simply walks in, stands there. Everybody gets up and gets the fuck out of the room. I was like, okay, that's great. Because I was like, bro, they didn't even do anything. He just showed up. And they're like, oh, shit. Let's give him some time. So this is an interesting relationship here as I guess he's been all the Echo stuff. He's been away.
He was gone. Yeah, he got shot in the face, the Echo stuff. So he's been gone.
He's gone. He's back, and he tells her, I'm going to run for mayor because he wants to run for mayor. Great. So we see a little bit of his campaign. We see him debating. And then another great moment where Matt learns this and sees the debate and just comes outside on the street and meets Wilson Fisk. He's like, can we talk? And then we have this wonderful diner scene. Ruggs, talk to me about this diner scene. What do you think of these performances, the tension, what they were saying to each other?
I thought the tension in the performances are good. I'm not sure I like all of the dialogue, but I think for the most part, it hit pretty good. It definitely was tense.
No, there were some good lines, like when he's like, I had a mentor once, and Matt's like, did she shoot you in the face?
Yeah, those were all good. Great. But there was one point where, like, if you consider going back to your ways,
you continue your vigilante activities, there will be consequences.
I feel like I'm watching Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. That Wilson Fisk, like Spider-Man.
I mean, they put it out there, like each of them.
The whole point is they're both watching each other, right?
Yeah,
like one guy is pro getting the vigilantes out, and the other guy's like, I know Daredevil's like, I know you, so if you do anything that's below board, I'm coming for you as a lawyer.
I mean, on the one hand, Matt's like, I'm not a vigilante anymore, and the Fisk is like, I'm not Kingpin criminal guy anymore, and they both don't believe each other.
Right.
And it ends with that exchange where Matt's just like, all right, I think we understand each other. That I'm watching you, you're watching me. It's fantastic.
That is a storyline in the comics, right, where he becomes mayor.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He becomes mayor in the Marvel comics.
Are they? I mean, that's a storyline in the comics. Are they at all? Do you get the vibe they're also doing a Trump thing?
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
They painted it differently than before. Because before they do it like he's a mob boss and he's a criminal.
Yeah,
but now you got Trump, who's I guess a criminal. I don't know.
I mean, a populist candidate who has a shady criminal past that wins the people because he's not a politician. What does that fucking sound like? It's absolutely.
But it's different than you're a mob guy, though. Like, you're a mob guy is different than being an asshole guy who fucks porn stars, right?
However, what's great is the skill set you gain being a mob boss is exactly the skill set you need to run a big fucking city like New York. Like,
is it?
I think it is. Coming from Chicago and reading about the shit that goes on here.
Chicago way.
I think that is absolutely same skill set.
You know that from experience, Imran.
I'm just saying.
Imran knows a lot about crime. Yeah.
I got my ear to the underground. What?
I guess.
What underground?
I guess, I mean, you can look at it as he's got to make a lot of deals.
Yeah. I mean,
he's probably going to at some point make deals in a way that he can only know how, which is intimidation.
Because some of these city services are absolutely like kind of being run by organized crime bits, right? It's just going to happen. So
he's going to make deals that no one has ever done before.
And we see him, yes, and he's going to try to play it clean.
That was my trumpet.
But it's like New York is a little microcosm of what's going on is what they're doing, I think. It'll also be interesting to see if he's still mayor at the end of the season. And will that be mentioned in Thunderbolts? Probably not. Because that's a movie. This is a TV show. Some other interesting bits here. Fisk and Vanessa talking, and he knows that she stepped out on him with a dude named Adam. And I love her first response to that is just, please don't kill him. This is the first.
I had to Google
who is Adam. Can you tell me?
I didn't know who Adam was.
Did you find out?
He's the principal.
I went to the Google machine, and he's just some guy that she's cheated on. And then I didn't want to go any further because maybe he's someone else.
So it's not someone we met ever on the show.
Well, I just looked that up, and then I said, "Oh, that's what they're implying." And I didn't want to look any further. So
I also had the question. I was like, "Who the fuck is Adam? Did we see him already? Was he in the show, in the Netflix show?" I was kind of confused. Okay, so there's a dude named Adam, and she's fucking, and he's not, and he promises not to kill him. My bet is Adam is so dead. Oh, he's so dead.
He's been dead.
He's probably dead already. And he's like, I won't kill him. So in this episode, we go from Matt quitting being Daredevil, Fisk having a whole mayoral campaign, and by the end, he has won the election, and he is the new mayor of New York. Matt overhears this on the phones, and you get this kind of cool scene where he's walking in the streets and there's smoke, and at the end he's bathed half in red light, blinking on and off, foreshadowing he's gonna have to fucking suit up again.
Well, not only that, the shots of Kingpin or Fisk on the roof, he's bathed in white.
Oh yes, he's above him, he's in white, and Matt's below him. Oh, a couple of things I liked in this episode is the way Matt can hear everyone. And did we meet the BB News bits? Was that in this episode? Did they start that?
They started in this episode, which is BB Ulrich, which is Ben Urich's niece.
What did you guys think about those parts? Because I feel like those parts combined with how Matt hears conversations, it's a really cool way to give you a tone of what the people are thinking.
Yeah, it's exposition done a little bit better than a dump.
Yeah.
But
well, given that Ruggs is a felty that lives in the alleys of New York,
he hears.
I don't think he hears this all the time.
He hears this shit all the time.
He already knows what the city's like.
I know what the city's thinking. And
fuck Mayor Adams. Is that what you hear?
Please clean the garbage.
Why are there so many rats here?
Yeah.
Where's
that rat czar?
It's a nice tie to that first season with Ben Urich.
Oh yeah, we'll get into that. So yes, at the end of this, is Foggy really dead? I don't know. We'll see. Second episode is titled Optics, and this one is directed by Michael Cuesta, written by Matt Corman and Chris Ord. Now these guys were the guys who were originally on the show that were removed once they retooled it. So the second episode, I feel like, is kind of what the show was in the beginning.
I think it was more crime drama, courtroom drama, crime of the week type stuff.
Yeah, and that's what you get here. And I kind of enjoyed this episode as like,
well, you get it here, but you don't get it solved in the first episode.
No, it's like it'll be like a case that spans multiple episodes. But now it starts to feel like a crime show, a procedural lawyer show after getting past this bridge episode. So yeah, Fisk is mayor, and then we see this dude. It's Hector Ayala. He's in the subway. He sees a guy getting hassled by two dudes and steps in and helps and tries to fight him off and accidentally pushes one in front of a subway train and kills him. At which point the other dude finally reveals that he is a cop and gets arrested.
You know, this scene reminds me of a very famous movie from the 80s with Harrison Ford.
The Fugitive?
Nope.
No. Witness. Oh yeah. It's a little bit Witness.
It's a witness. The two cops, crooked cops. One guy runs away.
Yeah.
That is the witness.
So the guy getting hassled runs off. Hector is now a cop killer, and it's bad news.
We just need now Matt to fuck an Amish woman.
Oh yeah. That's what happens.
Yeah.
This is a good movie. So this is a good setup for White Tiger. And then we also meet Michael Gandolfini playing Daniel on the on Fisk's like PR mayor.
Is he the younger kid?
Yeah.
Okay.
He looks just like his dad, bro. I mean, he looks like a young James Gandolfini. He's fun. He's very enthusiastic, but kind of geeky and dorky, but he's really into it. And Fisk is like, I like his enthusiasm. Another great scene is when he brings BB Urich, Ben's niece, to Wilson, and they have that conversation. And he goes, "Oh, you're Ben Urich's niece." I love it. He goes, "I knew him well." I was like, "Bro, you fucking strangled him to death with your big fucking hands." Yeah, you knew him well, you fucking monster. Wow.
You didn't like the cheesesteak thing?
That's later. So yes, the sandwich thing. This is also an interesting thing because his assistant's like, you don't have the cops because the police commissioner hates him. He's about to retire and he's just gonna fuck him. And Fisk like approaches him at the funeral.
All the police are gonna follow him out.
I love how the chief of police just fucking has no love for him and just gives him total shit.
Oh my god! At the funeral of the one cop that got hit, he's like, "Fuck you! I'm gonna take you down." And Wilson, trying to be clean, has got to slip back into his criminal ways and blackmails him a little bit.
Well, yeah. So that scene at the funeral, I also agree was good because you have the cop just being like, "Fuck you! I'm going to talk to you however I want."
Yeah.
Because initially Fisk comes there, and I think he does want to make peace. He goes, "How do we fix this?"
Yes.
And the cop just was like, "Fuck you, man! We're not fixing this. Like you're done." And then he berates Fisk, and I'm going the whole time. Old Fisk would never let this happen.
He would have smushed his head already.
Yeah.
Yes.
But then you see later on with the cheesesteak that he's playing. He's still old Fisk, but playing the game.
This is what I'm saying. My boss, mayor, kind of fucking same thing. Yeah, I love it. He's like, "You like sandwiches? You know where the best sandwich? You know where the best sandwich is?" And he's talking to him. And when he moves the sandwiches, there's a picture of this secret kid. And he's like, "Here's my offer. You get nothing of what you asked for, and you're not quitting." The commissioner's like, "All right,
no overtime, no pension,
overtime, yes, no health care, and you're just gonna continue to do what I tell you." And then the best is after he leaves, Fisk is like, "That sandwich was disgusting." So good. He didn't even like the sandwich. It looked like a really good sandwich. Did not like it. There's the scene with Heather Glenn. She's got a book signing, right? This is interesting. She meets this nervous young man who needs help. He gets her email. I think that's going to be Muse because we're going to get a Muse. You also hear them.
It's pretty guaranteed.
Jason Muse?
Not Jason Muse. Muse. You hear earlier, I think on this episode, another one, there's on the news, there's a lot of weird murals going up, which is the Muse thing. And then one of Fisk's men is there, which is possibly why they pick Heather Glenn, Matt Murdock's girlfriend, to be the therapist for Mr. and Mrs. Fisk. Wilson, Vanessa have to go to couples therapy.
I like that I like that scene where they're in couples therapy, and I like the build up before where the PR person is basically going, "Hey, you need to figure the shit out with your wife.
She needs to be next to you."
Right. Because the older crowd is not liking this. Yeah. That you're not married or you're having some sort of marital strife. And then I like the scene where they're both sitting there and she's basically the therapist is asking, "What are you trying to get out of this?" Yeah. And Fisk's wife, what's her name?
Vanessa
is basically just going, "I have to be here." Like I have no choice. Like I just got to be here. And then he's like, "I want this to be fit. Like you can tell he still wants her back."
Yeah. He's still, I mean, he loves her.
He's still in love with her.
He always loved her. He wants it to work and it's going to help everybody out. So that's going to be interesting.
And she does clearly she's for the most part moved on. It looks like that lady.
Do you Vanessa. Think they know that that's Matt's girlfriend at this point?
Not yet. I don't think.
Right?
But that's definitely probably going to play into it later.
They don't know.
That's a card that Fisk can pull later if and when he figures that out.
That's a great setup there. And them as therapy is wild because remember Vanessa was just an amazing character from the Netflix show. She was not afraid of him. She was not afraid to speak her mind. He didn't intimidate her. She
wanted to be a crime boss with him.
She feels like she's his equal almost. And I feel like she's a little annoyed that he's back because things are going fine when she was running things.
He doesn't need him anymore.
But he needs her. He needs her to show up in the fucking pictures. I love how all the young kids love him. I mean, that whole fixing a hole scene also, that's kind of
I
great.
like the fixing a hole scene.
He's like, what's going on here? Consider your permits approved. Fix this hole. See, I did something. You said do stuff. I just got something done. It's very Trump-like, right? I fixed the hole. It's great.
That the whole, the fixing of the hole, and then also the young crowd, because a big thing on this latest election was that Trump was on the podcast.
Right.
Trump was, he was going after that younger dynamic.
Yeah.
And it seems like they're kind of doing the same thing here with Fist with the young crowd. And the whole scene was great. He just gets out. Why can't you pour concrete? Red tape. Consider it approved.
Fix this hole.
Fix the hole.
I fixed it. Look, take a picture. I fixed it. Post it. Do this shit. It's great. That's fucking fantastic. Okay, so meanwhile, Matt is at the police station and he overhears these cops beating Hector Ayala. And he steps in and talks to him. And because he can hear his heartbeat, he knows Hector's telling the truth. But he also knows he's kind of hiding something. Decides to take on this very hard case. And Kristen McDuffie is not excited about this, but there's great conversations about why this actually matters. Why it's important.
I like the scene with the guy. That scene where he's the bald guy. That's his
Jerry. Jerry's great. Yeah, he
goes, I believe him, but he's not telling the truth. And Jerry's just something along the lines of, wait, you believe him, but you think he's not telling the truth? Like he's like, what the hell are you saying right now? He's like, he's hiding something, but he's also telling the truth.
It was, and now you got that feeling. So, and then it gets crazier because they send Cherry to his apartment. Cherry sees his white tiger outfit in his apartment, and then Matt confronts him at Rikers. And you have this whole thing about how it's not relevant, his vigilante life in this case. What's funny is this whole show is very grounded up until the point where Hector's like, well, I didn't have my amulet on me at the time, so I didn't really have any powers.
I noticed that too.
I was like, what?
Not only that line, and then Matt says it later in the courtroom. He wasn't wearing his mask or his costume or his amulet.
He didn't have the amulet. He's not gonna
everybody knows about this fucking amulet, except for me.
Yeah.
And I'm watching it.
And
we don't know what the amulet does, but the way they're talking about it so matter of factly.
It's so funny. But I guess White Tiger's been a thing, and people know that he's like a good guy that's helping.
But why would they know about his amulet?
I don't know.
Wouldn't you keep that close to the vest?
I have my amulet. What can I do? I can do it.
But he announces it before he kicks someone's ass. He's like, I'm going to use this amulet to kick your ass.
Now with the power of my amulet.
Who's writing this?
Yes.
That's very cartoony. With the power of my amulet.
What's with the amulet?
I can transform into a white tiger.
Yeah. Is that what happens? We'll find out. I wonder if there's a transformation scene. But I did love all this conversation about like being a vigilante and how it's it's not relevant. And he convinces the judge. He actually convinces the judge. That was
actually a good scene too, because a lot of when you watch a lot of courtroom type stuff, it's very surface level. So to go and like see the behind the scenes in the chamber about them discussing what evidence can be used in a trial, I thought was, it's not like this super entertaining scene, but it just makes it feel a little more real that they're actually having this courtroom.
Watch any OJ trial doc, and they did that shit a lot during that trial. That's part of the strategy, is getting stuff blocked from being included. So, some of this shit, it felt like a Law and Order show, right? I was really taking it. So what they got to do now to clear Hector, they got to find the dude that ran off. The dude that they were harassing. Matt eventually finds him, but so do the bad cops. And you get this pretty great scene where they meet him at the apartment, but the guy has run off, these bad cops, and Matt takes a beating. And I mean, these guys think they're beating up a blind guy legitimately, and they just beat the shit out of him until one of them pulls a gun. And Matt's like, you don't want to do this. Don't make me do this. And he fucking gives him the beat down. Now, did he kill those two? This could be a problem.
He beats him pretty badly. I mean, he breaks the one guy's forearm and smashes the guy's face against a fridge.
And then when he threw the one guy on the ground, like I swore I heard like his neck crack or something. But I love that shot where the blood drips and you just hear the blood hitting the ground like he would hear it. Very cool. And then the scream ending the episode as if to say, fuck, what the fuck do I do now? Because if they're alive and they recover, they got to explain getting beat by a blind man. Who's going to believe that? But if they're dead,
but if they're alive, they've just basically encountered a blind man that can kick people's ass, so
Yeah,
now everyone's
that's-
going to be like, "What's going on with Matt?" Yeah,
That's suspicious.
it's a good little cliffhanger to figure out well, how does Matt figure out what to do next in this situation?
He's got to kill him. No.
I mean, he's got blood on his hands. He's the devil.
What if Wilson Fisk kills them?
To help Matt? Or, well, okay, so here's a couple of questions. Are these cops bad because Fisk is mayor, or these were just the bad cops that are around?
We don't know
already?
yet. I think this is all leading to something bigger.
Oh, okay.
But
Okay.
we don't know if that ties into Fisk or not. But I think it's a cover up within. I think it's the police are just as fucking. I don't know why I'm swearing there. Just as corrupt.
Yeah.
As the rest of the city, and there's something going on.
Yeah.
Maybe Matt and Kingpin clean it up together. I have no idea.
Shit,
I don't know where they're going with this.
I know.
I think that's part of the intrigue for me is I don't know.
There's no way Kingpin's going to be good.
Yeah,
No,
I think eventually you'll probably get them back to the point where they're both full on enemies. But I'm curious. I like the characters enough, and I think it's an intriguing enough storyline where I'm going, okay, let's see this play out. Or as the kids would say, let them cook.
Let him cook. Yeah. What is Fisk's end game? And there are times where he really feels sincerely like he wants to help the city and do a good job. But what is the end game here?
Right.
There's something bigger.
He's trying to find out if he's more than just a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Like, criminal.
Redemption for him.
He's trying, but it's not gonna happen. It's not who he is.
So again, back to the diner scene, and you get a sense of this immediately. Just that line where he's like, "It's hard to come to terms with our violent natures." Like they both have this violent, dark streak in them, and they're both kind of poking at it. It's fantastic. So of course we got Muse coming. We got John Bernthal as Punisher. How does he play in? I feel like the show is going to get better. There are critics the critics have seen all 9 episodes.
Oh, they have?
Yeah.
I thought they just saw the first 2.
No, they've seen all of them, and I've heard a lot that the second half gets better. But that said, this is an amazing start. I think it's a definite solid start. I was quite impressed. I like this direction.
You're definitely very high on it.
I liked it.
I would lean more towards you, Imran, than Ruggs. I was very entertained. I definitely have some issues with some of the visually how it looks, but there's one scene where Matt and the girl, the therapist, are talking in front of a building, and it's so CGI'd back there.
Yeah,
it looks really bad. So there's some stuff like that, but overall, I do enjoy. I'm hooked on the plot, and I like the characters. So
the writing is good. Yeah, writing and performances, the characters. The other scene that was very green screeny to me was like when the train is actually going behind Hector.
Oh yeah, that was bad too.
That didn't look. Yeah, that looked very green screeny.
Yeah,
but the CG is a little wonky. I'll give you that. It's cool to see.
Do you like the theme song even?
It's all right. You know what? The opening credits
kind of playing on the old one.
I still love the credits of the original Netflix.
The OG is better.
The blood drip and the red. Oh my god! This one, it's all
this
like
is
concrete.
Statue falling apart.
Yes, it's all. Yeah. And it's thematic, right? The city's crumbling. Maybe his life's crumbling. You got to put it together.
The old one was better. I mean, I still remember that. I don't remember this theme, but the old one, dun, 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 like, and then the blood falling over everything. Yeah,
I love that. That was a sick one. So we'll see if it.
I think overall though, it's Marvel's back. No, I can't say that yet.
Yeah, we're back, baby.
No, but I think overall it's a good start.
Yeah.
It's, one of those, the last TV show before this was Agatha, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So like what I can appreciate with Agatha and with this is they both feel very different, but appropriately different, right?
Yeah.
Where Agatha
should be different.
Yeah, they shouldn't feel exactly the same. They look a little similar, but I think it seems like the shows feel more like TV shows because they have real showrunners, and they're letting these writers really lean into the genre that they want to explore within the show.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I feel good. Ruggs, final thoughts. Close this out for us. You looking forward? Is it a good start?
I feel like it's not a terrible start. I feel like it's good enough. And it's a step in the right direction. It seems serious. The tone's serious. And there is like some good stuff going on. So I feel like it's got potential. So let's see what happens. It might, everybody's saying it's great. Hopefully it does continue to get better.
Yeah.
And I think we're in a pretty decent spot.
Yeah. Agree. I'm in for the ride. Listener, if you want to join this conversation, talk about Daredevil, we have a spoiler thread on our Facebook page, Jock and Nerd Nation. Jock and Nerd. You can get in there and chop it up with all our listeners. It's a closed, exclusive group just for you, listener. Let's take a break here, guys. We'll play some promos. Come back and talk about the Best Picture Oscar winner of 2025 right after this.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
What's up, Jock and Nerd Nation? This is Logan at Mostly Superheroes, a podcast that was partly inspired by the Jock and Nerd Podcast. We talk about a lot of the same stuff, MCU, DC heavy, with other content that comes out of HBO Max, Amazon Prime, Netflix, and more. We're committing to doing something new every day in 2021, so come join the fun, check out the schedule. Find us at mostlysuperheroes.com and enjoy the rest of the show.
Hey there, everyone. Brian here, host of TV Trivia Pod. It's a trivia-style podcast focusing on TV and movies. Listen in for questions like, what's the name of Michael Scott's screenplay? What do you say to view the Marauders map? And what's everyone eating in the post-credit scene of Avengers? Play along to TV Trivia Pod anywhere you get podcasts. And stay tuned for more trivia.
Jock and Nerd.
Listener, if you enjoy this show, this is a fantastic time to join our Patreon fan club. Visit jockandnerd.com/Patreon. Jock and Nerd. There's a link right there in the episode description, and you can give back for all this nonsense on a monthly or annual basis, and you get stuff like access to a podcast feed where the shows come out early. There's bonus content. Rugboy put out 2 reviews this week. We got his thoughts on Anora and Wicked. Holy shit.
Oh, shit.
We will talk about that later. You can also join us on our monthly Discord hangouts. This month's hangout is Thursday, March 20th. Come along. Help us celebrate our 10th birthday. And you can pick a movie. You get a t-shirt. Lots of fun stuff over at jockandnerd.com/Patreon. All right, let's get to this week's review, fellas. Changing gears completely from Daredevil, we are going to be reviewing this year's Best Picture winner at the Oscars, Anora. Here's your spoilers.
Strap yourselves in, you fucks. Spoiler time.
This is the movie that just won 5 out of 6 nominated Oscars. It won Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actress, Best Original Screenplay, and Best Film Editing. So, a lot of awards. Sean Baker setting a record for one person has never won 4 Oscars in the same night for the same movie. It's him now.
Wow.
Yeah. Nobody else has done that. Walt Disney did do that, not for the same movie in the 50s. But that's a pretty big achievement. The movie currently is on, you can rent for $6, but everyone, March 17th, it will be available on Hulu. So, though everybody can check out the Best Picture winner. Currently on the Rotten Tomatoes, this movie has a 93% critics tomato rating. You know when the tomatoes meet and they talk about movies?
Is this the tomato meter or the pork meter? What are you talking about here?
It's the meeting of the tomatoes. 93%, 88% audience score. The movie was made for $6 million. This is a very indie film.
Whoa.
But makes box office $42 million, which is not a lot, but it's a lot on a $6 million budget. Also tells you not a lot of people really went out to see this because it was, opening weekend, it was open in, I think, 6 theaters across the country. Then it opened wider. So this is as indie as you get.
Neon film.
Neon is one of the companies that recently formed in 2017. They've been winning a lot of Oscars lately. I found this stat. This is interesting. Movie made for $6 million, right? They spent $18 to $20 million just on the Oscar campaign, marketing, and distribution.
Yeah, I heard.
Of this movie. Over 3 times as much. It does get them rewards, it gets them all these Oscars.
What does that actually do for them? All this investment, they just like higher profile. They get
it wins. They did the same thing with Parasite. They spent $20 million in 2019 for Parasite and
higher
won
profile.
Best Picture.
And then there's usually an Oscar effect too, right? Like, so we're all watching the movie now. They can make more money on the movie, and I think for a lot of these studios, there's still a lot of prestige in terms of winning the Oscar. So
cachet, like you want to.
I guess like when they want to be the next A24 or something.
Yeah,
A24. Both of them are doing the same thing.
Both of them are pretty similar. Neon won. You said Parasite, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Neon and A24 are really outperforming major studios in the Oscars in the last couple of years. Like, it's quite a thing to watch. It also, they won all those Oscars, but they also won their run-up awards. There's some BAFTAs, some SAGs, some DGAs, I believe. This movie won a lot of awards this Oscar season. Again, it was written, directed, produced, and edited by Sean Baker, who has done what movies, Ruggs?
The Florida Project, Tangerine.
I think I've seen The Florida Project.
William Dafoe's in that.
Red Rocket. So just a couple of small movies.
Yeah, movies about hookers, movies about people who live in crazy apartment buildings.
Yeah. Starring Mikey Madison as the titular Anora, or Annie, as she likes to be called. Mikey Madison from
Did you say titular on purpose?
Titular.
Did you use that word?
Yes.
I think so.
Did I? No one will know. But we've seen her in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood in the Scream reboots. And then a couple of these. The other guy, the name I want to mention is the guy who played Igor, Yura Borisov. I think he also got a nomination for supporting or something. And the rest of the people, you're not really going to know. Paul Wiseman, Lindsay Normington. They're all... It's a good cast, though. It is rated R. It's 2 hours and 19 minutes long. Anthony, what's Anora about?
Anora is about a dancer, some would call a stripper back in the day, that stumbles or happens to meet one of her nights that she's working, a young Russian kid who is the son of very rich parents. And they form a relationship that first starts off with him paying her for dances and then sex, and then later on leads into a much deeper relationship that gets both of them in trouble.
Yeah, it's a fairy tale first half and then a crazy second half.
Fairy tale for, in terms of maybe for a dancer, not necessarily a fairy tale story.
Not a fairy tale story, but definitely a stripper hits the jackpot story.
Right, yeah.
Very Pretty Woman, kind of like Pretty Woman, but darkly comic.
It's Pretty Woman with parents.
Yes, when the parents are involved. All right, we'll get into everything, but Anthony, I want to know from you overall, what'd you think of this movie?
So I walked into this movie and I barely had any, other than it winning Best Picture, I didn't really know what the plot was. I remember we talked about it briefly, but it never stuck. And then very briefly, I looked at a quick synopsis and went, "Oh yeah, okay, this is about a dancer, a stripper."
Right.
That's all I knew.
Yeah.
Watched the movie with a friend of mine, and I had a great time watching this movie. I thought it was really good. I was pleasantly surprised by by how funny it was. How one of the things I felt right from the beginning is how real it felt.
Yeah.
I don't know when the last time you two elderly men have been inside of a establishment like that.
Yeah.
But mine hasn't been that long since I've been in one of those establishments. And let me tell you, that's how it is. The way the girls talk and the way the dances, like, I thought I did a really good job of capturing what it is, how it is like back there in those rooms with the way they talk to you and all that. Like, a lot of movies kind of glamorize it, but I mean, even the dialogue of them being like, "Oh, you want to go in the back, baby, VIP," like, all that stuff. Like, that's really how it is. So it just felt very, very real. And then it became this comedy with the Russian kid, and I was laughing at him and their situation. And then you have a lot of fun throughout the movie, and there's a lot of sex and boobies. That definitely ropes you in if you're into that. Yeah. And then you have the turn, and all of a sudden it's trying to track down this Russian with the parents, and you're wondering where Mikey even fits into all of this. And then the ending is all of a sudden you're like, whoa, this is happening. And then it just ends and you go, oh my gosh, what? So it was quite a movie experience. I thoroughly enjoyed myself. I can't say for sure if this is the best movie of the year since I haven't seen all the other movies, but I thought it was a good movie. I liked it a lot.
All right.
Very entertained.
Yeah. Rugs, opening thoughts. Were you entertained?
Yeah, I thought it was entertaining. I thought it was a good movie. It's a. I mean, I like his movies, Sean Baker's movies. I feel like the thing that he does really well is that he creates this feeling of reality.
Yeah.
All right. Now, unfortunately, I feel like there's a couple of times in this movie where I feel like the reality breaks, and which is okay, fine. But overall, I feel like it was very, very good. And I don't know. I can't really say though that it is the best movie I've seen this year.
Right.
But I think it's very good. Very good. Like it was good. I mean, look, it's got very pretty women with their clothes off a lot of the time. It's got comedy. It's got New York, which I love when they do a New York film. It's got the reality of New York, the neighborhoods, Coney Island's in there, all the stuff that's my playground. Okay.
Yeah.
So it was nice to see all that stuff, and it was handled very well. So I feel like, yeah, it's easy to fall in love with this movie. So I had a good time with it.
I also really had a great time with this movie. And like you, Anthony, I just knew a little bit. I knew exactly that. It's about Dancer. I don't know. I didn't want to know anything else. And it's a really charming, fun, funny movie. The characters are great. I love the way it kind of resembles like a 70s New York movie, the way they shot it. Like some of it reminded me of like Warriors, like the way Warriors looked from the 70s. This cinema verite style of filmmaking.
It reminded me of Kids.
Or Kids, yes, where it just seemed like you were there. This slice of life story of these characters was great. And I love the first half had me feeling like, man, I wish I was a kid of a Russian oligarch. This is I'm so jealous. And then the second half, I'm like, I'm really glad I'm not the son of a Russian oligarch, actually. But it's got this crazy first half, and the second half almost feels like a Tarantino-esque type of turn.
Not quite.
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit without much of the danger, but suddenly, this whole first half of her meeting him, quitting the strip club, going to Vegas, having a blast, enjoying his money, and they get married, and you're like, all right, great, everybody's happy. Where's the conflict? And then they bring in the conflict, and it's fantastic, and you get to meet all these new characters.
I wouldn't go Tarantino-esque, but I mean, you kind of like. At some point, I was watching with one of my friends, and I go, "The other shoe is going to drop on this. Like, this is too good of a story,
right?"
So you can kind of see I don't know if it's like a twist, but you can see where this is going. But this is all. It's too good to be true for everyone involved.
Well, there's a dead giveaway, I think, because when they get to the house and he's just sitting there playing video games
the whole time,
and he's just like he's not on business calls or doing anything, it's like, oh, that's mommy and daddy's money, and they don't want him. No, I don't care what parents you have, they don't, especially if you're rich parents, you don't want your kid marrying a hooker. He's just, I mean, like, it's just plain as day. They're not gonna be like, oh, let's give her a chance.
Right.
So what's coming.
Here's the thing:
how it happens is funny,
and she would argue that she's not a prostitute and not a hooker.
What? Okay.
She didn't really need much convincing.
No, she just she was like, okay.
I mean, she's definitely banging him for money.
Yes,
I think that at some point she might develop feelings for. I don't know if she did. To me, the way the movie plays out is, I don't know that she might develop feelings for him just because of the attention, but she's really just developed a love for the lifestyle he provides.
That's what I think. My question, watching is, does she really love him, or
no?
She loves the lifestyle.
She doesn't necessarily like love him, but the situation she goes through with the parents and the way he talks to her after makes her feel really like, even though she probably doesn't love him, the whole situation really makes her feel like garbage.
Well, look, I think it's not about love. I think it's about feel like she's like this, I guess, this lower life form, right?
She's not respected.
Right.
She's not respected to them.
Yes.
She's like, she thought that she was ascending to this new life. And she's like, even the people in the strip club, she's like, "Oh, fuck you! I'm no longer one of you anymore."
Yeah,
Right.
they set up her nemesis, Diamond, and she walks out.
And she's like finally free. She's finally ascended to another level where she's a person,
Right.
and people have to listen to her. And all of a sudden, that's ripped away. I think that's what she was probably fighting for more than love.
Yeah, because I thought the scene was hilarious, but when those guys, the Armenian guys, come in and
Yes.
and they're trying to figure out what's going on and get the marriage certificate, she's basically like, "Get the fuck out of my house!" Like she's talking like she owns it. She's like, and she's all telling
My house. Yeah.
and she's telling the kid, what's the guy's name? The guy she marries,
Ivan.
Ivan.
Vanya,
She's telling
yeah.
Vanya that if just let me meet your parents and we'll talk to them. Like she's definitely feels like she's ascended. I think that the real kick in the gut is when she meets those parents and she starts talking in Russian to them, and then the mom is just like, "Your Russian's pathetic."
Yeah. It's and he lies to her. He tells her, "I did tell my parents. You'll get to meet them." Okay, wait. I want to get into all that.
Are you going to narrate the entire plot?
No. I agree that the opening strip club scene just seemed very real, and I think she ad-libbed a lot. I love Mikey Madison's Brooklyn accent. She had
Her
to learn
accent,
this accent.
to me, sounded real. I don't know if it doesn't sound real to you.
What do
guys.
you think, Russ? I thought she did a good job.
say 65%. I would say 60.
I thought she did a good job. The only thing I could have used a little more is maybe a little more character of her outside of her job.
Well, yeah, I think that actually makes the movie a little bit weaker because there's not let me jump to the end, but when there's a couple of moments in this movie where we need to know her background just to see what we're dealing with here.
Right.
And there's two moments in the movie. One when the mother threatens her about ruining her life. And you don't even know what life that she has other than her roommate wanted her to pick up milk.
Yeah.
That's it.
I do love
You don't
the
really
milk
know
scene.
anything about her life.
Yeah.
So she said something about her sister at one
I think
point.
that's her sister that lives with her.
That's what I was wondering.
We don't even know if it's
right.
that.
No, but I love like the little bit of character we get is just that scene where she's like, "Did you get the milk?" And she's like, "Did you see any milk?" I didn't pick up the fucking milk. It's fucking great. That's all you get. But when when the mom threatened her, I'll take your house, your car. I was like, this girl has nothing to lose. Apparently, why should she even be threatened by this? She's got nothing.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if she's got nothing. I think she is living with her sister, and I don't think. To me, I don't think you necessarily need the peek into behind her life because the way her life is presented with her, like I think you get enough where you can go, I can form what her life is outside of this. She's basically all she's doing is dancing at the club and then sleeping during the day and smoking a vape and like there's no path for her. It doesn't look like
And they wanted to show this community, right? The stripper, dancer, sex worker community, whatever, and kind of show what they're really like, the real. And I think they did a good job about that. But it would have been nice to see a little.
Really,
bit more.
you think they did a good job based on what?
Based on I was going to say the handful of times that I
based
have
on the community you've been in,
have been in strip clubs, it did seem very authentic.
It does seem, that I would agree. It does seem authentic.
No, what do you think, Rex? Huh?
I have personal experience, but anyway.
Well, you do have different personal.
Well, the way they talk about going to the back, like that's real. Like all the girls.
I would say that.
She's like, "You want to go to ATM, baby? Come on, let's get you some cash." Come on.
I would say all the stuff that happens in the club seems pretty legit.
But then I was like, "What does she see in Ivan? Really? He's kind of there's nothing there. He's kind of a dick."
What do you mean? Wait a minute. What does she see in Ivan?
Yeah.
This guy lives in a mansion.
That's what I'm saying.
Just paid her. What is she? You really think she needs to see more than that?
No.
Listen, I could. How many times have you seen a fucking rich guy with a hot girl?
That's true.
Every single time.
That is true.
Okay,
that is true. That is true.
That's what happens.
You're like, why is she? Oh, I guess.
Especially an old one, like an old shriveled up rich dude with like a 20-year-old girl.
Oh yeah.
I mean, and this one's interesting. He's
Bill
actually
Belichick.
He's younger than her. Even it's kind of interesting, but So, anyways, okay. So when it all changes, when Igor and Garnick show up and they call Toros, so we meet Toros, who has to leave a fucking baptism.
Oh, I love. But you got to stop right there.
Yeah,
the scene where Garnick or Gawarap, I forgot what his name is.
Garnick and Igor.
Garnick and Igor are in the house.
Yeah,
and they're looking for the marriage certificate to prove that he did get married, and they send it to Toros. And Toros is in the baptism dressed up and looks at his phone and just yells during the baptism, "No!"
It's like, I gotta go.
And he leaves.
So
it's so good.
It is here where Anora learns that Ivan maybe is not, she doesn't learn yet, but he runs off. He fucking essentially leaves her behind. And this whole.
Well, it's coming apart that him getting married to her isn't necessarily like him becoming a citizen. It's like not, she thinks that it'll end the relationship with the parents, but that's not, he overpromised to her what was really happening.
Well, yeah, I mean, he lied to her and he just did it to get back at him. And he does, they don't get along, obviously. But
I think he's just doing it just to live out as fast, much things that he can do before he has to go back.
Before he has to go back, yeah. Yeah, and he's, I mean, the party scenes where I was like, these guys go fucking hard.
He's not really thinking about what he's doing. He's just doing whatever he wants.
Yeah, because he's used to that.
He's having fun with this girl.
Yeah.
This girl seems to be like, she like completely submits to his life.
Yeah.
She just sits there while he plays video games.
Yeah.
And then every once in a while gets him to fuck. Yeah.
$15K for 1 week for his girlfriend. I guess it's not bad. That's not bad. I do like when he's like, I would have done it. You could ask for 30. So the whole scene where Garnick tells Igor after Vanya runs off, don't let her leave. First of all, Annie fucks up Garnick too, kicks him in the face, breaks his nose. And then Igor has to, it's kind of funny and crazy. And he ties her up with the phone cord and she's yelling.
Well, he's tying up with the phone cord and Toros is on the phone. You can just hear him go,
it's like,
are you killing her? What are you doing?
Are you killing her? And Garnick comes back. He's like, bro, what the fuck are you doing? Untie her. He's like, she's going to run. He's like, I don't care. And he ties her and she runs. He's like, I told you. And then he's got to grab her. And then Toros is like, why is she on top of you? What the fuck is happening? And they're both screaming over each other. It's hilarious.
It is very, that whole, when you inject the two guys, it's very almost, not to the same level, but it's very Three Stooges-esque.
Yeah.
Where they're just in this situational comedy now, where they all trying to corral this girl, and now Garnick is dealing with a broken nose. Toros is trying to find this needle in a haystack to like annul this marriage. You got Igor, who's like kind of a good guy, which you see later on. And basically like trying to comfort her, and she's like, fuck you, man, you tied me up.
Yeah, you assaulted me. Get the fuck off
me. You assaulted me.
Garnick is just like, she's an animal, bro. Look out, she'll bite you.
And they're calling him a Grupnik, which I had no friend, which is basically like a Russian. You know what that is? That's like a very.
No, I assumed it was like just like a.
It's a Russian slang insult for these guys in Russia that would basically wear track suits and Adidas track suits and like squat and just chew on sunflower seeds and spit.
I'm no Grupnik.
Yeah. So they're calling him a Grupnik, which is basically
there's some
slang.
Hilarious scenes where Toros is talking at one point, and in the back you just hear Garnick go strip club, and it's just all these things. And it's like she's an animal.
I mean, the whole Garnick being like concussed in the car, and Toros just being like, "No, you're not leaving," and he's like vomiting all over the place.
Like, it's okay, it's fine. It's like, fuck, it smells in here. My wife has to take this car tomorrow.
And then they cut to the shot, they're on the car. She's like, I'm not getting in that car. And then they cut to her in the car.
Even him driving off the tow truck.
Oh, that's fucking fantastic. And Anora and Annie's just like, you guys are fucking crazy. What the fuck?
It's literally like she's with the Three Stooges.
That's just a night in New York.
It is. It really is. That's what I love. Going around when they were searching for him, different bars, different clubs, crazy shit happens. Like, Anthony, we were there. This is New York. Crazy shit happens every night.
But they're going from Coney Island back into Manhattan. That's a long. Yeah, that's a lot of driving.
That's long. That's why Toros was upset.
If you're at night, it's not too bad.
Not too bad. Okay.
No. Yeah.
So
it's like there's no traffic at night.
I love this slow change in Anora, right? She goes from like essentially being kidnapped and tied up to realizing they're both on the same side. She needs to talk to Ivan and reluctantly agrees, okay, let's go find him. Meanwhile, Toros has taken back her wedding ring and he's offered her $10,000 to get this marriage annulled. And she's like, I got to talk to Ivan first, right?
Right.
So slowly she starts to become one of them. And the moment where they go back to the candy shop and they just bust up the candy shop and she's suddenly like, you fucking call him right now. Like she's one of them was fantastic. I was like, oh, she's flipped. She's totally like gangster.
Well, she's not
like
flipped. She's basically
she's got her own ideas.
Yeah, it's an ends to a means. She's got to talk to him.
she needs to talk to him to find out what the fuck is
you're
happening.
starting to see Igor, like you're starting to see that Igor is not a bad guy. Like he's been hired for this thing, and he's trying to comfort her, and she's just like, "You're, what does she call him? A fucking faggot?
Psychopath."
No,
Yeah,
you're a gay faggot or something.
Yeah.
She keeps calling him.
And he goes, "What is this?" And he doesn't even know what it is. But really, at the end, it's a fight. I love it. He's the only one that actually kind of supported her, was on her side, and almost kind of cares for her. And you see that slowly develop.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a bit because I think you're jumping to the end.
They're running around. Also, I think at some point, we'll get to it. She eventually finds out that fucking Ivan is back at the strip club where they met, and her arch nemesis Diamond is giving him a lap dance.
Well, he's just been basically blacked out.
He's on a
hopping
bender.
from strip club to strip club and bar to bar.
Super, super drunk.
Yeah.
And Diamond was like, "Why I tell you, bitch, 2 weeks." And she turns around and fucking smacks her. That's great. That's a fucking fun scene. So he's so drunk they have to wait in front of the courthouse until the next morning to get the marriage annulled. This plan does not go well because they got married in Nevada and you can't annul the marriage in New York. And meantime, Toros has got to do this before his parents come, and he's just like, "Fuck." They're fucked.
Anora is in the courtroom basically saying, "I don't agree to this annulment."
That's a great scene. Yeah.
I think that where the reality breaks for me is like the minute that she got into that courtroom, she would have been like, the jig is up. These guys are fucking, I'm under duress. These guys
assaulted me.
The cops are there. They're assaulting me. And then she could have had everybody by the balls.
Yeah.
And I feel like that she's a Brooklyn girl. She's smart enough to know that. And for her not to do that, I felt like there's got to be a reason.
Well, instead, she argues that she is actually in love and wants to remain married and hold on to this still.
I think they're to Ruggs' point, I think they're playing that up as more of a comedy scene. So while it does lose you in terms of realism, I think it's meant to make you laugh because there multiple times Toros gets up and he's like, "What is she doing? She's not supposed to be speaking." And they're like, "Dude, sit down. Camel coat, sit down."
Yes, I'm surprised he didn't get thrown out. She's like, she's not supposed to.
Yeah, they're definitely trying to play comedy on that one, but
it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, there's a few opportunities where she could have gotten the upper hand in the situation, because if you do that in court, they can't stop you. You can't do anything. The parents now she's protected.
Yeah,
in a lot of ways. So, and the marriage would have continued.
Maybe she's still thinking about the lifestyle and the money, and maybe. But what happens is, I think she finally realizes when the parents show up and she meets them and they cold shoulder her and they don't like her and they end up.
I mean, no, wait a minute, Imran.
Yeah,
these guys come into the house. Yeah. They break into the house. They tie her up.
Yeah.
And all this stuff. They tell her that she's a piece of shit and they got to get the marriage annulled. Why does she think that they're the people that sent them to do this? So, why is she going to think that the Hail Mary pass to the parents liking her?
I did earlier, though, it's because she's built this confidence, and it's a false sense of confidence that she has because of the fact that she's living.
But she thinks if she could just get the kid...
she could just talk to Ivan.
Yeah,
and have
but
him,
she did talk to Ivan, and
that's what breaks her, is when Ivan's just like, what did you think? Yeah, he just goes, what'd you expect?
Yeah.
And that's what
before they board the plane, he's like, look, this is impossible. I got to do what my parents tell me. What'd you think was going to fucking happen? And then on the plane, she just calls him a fucking piece of shit and he's pathetic. Yeah. It's great. They eventually get to the place. Oh, this is when Anora threatens the mom that I didn't sign a prenup. I can get a divorce. I'm going to get half. Right. And the mom is like, if you do that, I'm going to take everything you have.
Right.
She could have wheeled and dealed there, though.
I felt Anora could have asked for way more money. I would have been like, give me $1 million. We'll get this done. No problem.
Well, I think to that point, though, because by
10,
the end, I think she just wants to get this over with. She's putting on a face, but as you can see at the end, it's really broken her.
Yeah. But she could ask for a little bit more. Why did she extort more? Anyways, so the great
You're thinking about this logically. Think about if you were in a situation where she's been up 24 hours.
Yes. Then her whole world is turned upside down.
I don't know. I know women. All I think about is how much money they're going to get.
You know these people are rich. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know which women you're talking about, especially a stripper.
I
don't know. It just doesn't fit her.
She knows how rich they are. She knows $1 million ain't going to mean shit to them. I'll be like, give me $1 million fucking dollars. Yeah. Let's do this.
I don't know. I think it's explainable.
The scene where they get to where they annul the papers is also fantastic because she finally does sign it. And as she's leaving, Igor suggests that Ivan apologize. Amazing move. Very, very chivalrous, very white knighty a little bit, but this is him showing he cares. And the mother's like, my son doesn't apologize to anyone. And she just comes back in and she goes, that's because your son's a fucking pussy. It's fucking great. And the dad just laughing his ass off this whole time. And she's telling him off.
The dad seems to kind of like agree that this, like, I think that's his, like, that's the little part of him being like, all right, I don't approve of this marriage, but she's kind of funny. She's got something going on.
She's got.
I can appreciate her balls.
Yeah, she's got balls. She's got spunk. And Igor, this whole time, he gives her the scarf. He stands up for her. He's like the only one that's trying to help. And here at the end of the movie, we kind of see
before that, they're watching. He escorts her back to New York.
Yeah,
she can stay at the house one night. They're watching TV together. He's lighting her cigarettes, being a real gentleman.
Yeah,
and then they're kind of like talking, and she's like, "Why the fuck are you talking to me?" And then, but he's still being nice to her.
Yeah.
And then she has this whole thing where she like makes it sexual, and she's like, "Why didn't you rape me?"
Yeah.
And then he's like, "I'm not a rapist." What do you mean? Like, why would? And then she goes, "That's because you're like," I forget what she says, but she's basically like, "You're fucking gay. That's why you didn't rape me."
Yeah.
Like you have no balls.
Jesus.
He's just like, what the fuck?
Fucking brutal. This fucking girl's crazy. She calls him a psychopath, and she's like, "You would have raped me if nobody was around." He's like, "What?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?"
Like, no one is around right now.
Yeah, I'm not doing anything. I mean, this ending is crazy.
Yeah, because I didn't know where it was going at this point.
Yeah, at this point. So
I'm going, are they bang? Like, is this ending in like a fairy tale way where these two are the ones that get together?
Right? You kind of see that coming. So he drives her to an ATM. He gives her the money. He takes her home. And then before she steps out, he pulls out the wedding ring. He fucking snagged it from Toros at some point, I guess.
Yeah.
And he gives it back to her. And now, look, I wanted her to ask for $1 million. She can get some nice change for this ring.
It's probably like a $50,000
so
ring.
it kind of makes up for a little bit of all the shit that she went through. And it's a very touching move. And she proceeds to mount him. And it looks like they're starting to bang. But he then tries to very forcefully kiss her, and she's resisting. And he almost kisses her, but she breaks down crying. And that's where the movie ends. And to me, this is
she breaks down crying, he consoles her.
He hugs her, and they embrace in the front seat of the car. And I just see this as everything she has been through. It was coming out. Her getting on top of him was kind of like getting back at Ivan. But this guy has been the only guy who's been nice to her. And she's been through some shit. And it all just kind of comes out. How do you guys read that ending? What made you think?
I don't know. I feel like it was weird because I feel like he was trying to kiss her forcefully, and that was like, and all of a sudden she did not want to kiss him, but she was trying to bang him. And I was like, okay, I don't know. He wanted intimacy. She did not.
Well, so I think a couple things here. So throughout the movie, when Ivan is banging her, he's banging her really quickly. And she's like, it'd be better if you do it slowly.
Yeah. She's like, let me try it.
And with this guy, so like he gives her the ring. First off, very real. Before she mounts, when she's mounting him, she licks her fingers to get him a little wet. To make the insertion a little better.
Attention to detail.
Yes,
they're fucking.
Yeah. But she's fucking him like slowly, and I think that's the thing is it's a much more of an intimate like they're fucking out of passion, but they're also like it's kind of like love fucking.
It's like a Stockholm syndrome thing happening.
But then he interprets it as her like that they're falling, like they're going for it and they're kissing. Like he wants to kiss her, right? But at that point, she's like, I think the way I'm reading it is, it's like all catching up to her. She's like, what the fuck just happened in my life?
What do I do? Yeah.
And like that's when she breaks down because she's like, this guy is like trying to kiss me, and it's like kind of like feels rapey, but I'm the one. Like it's just a whole thing.
Yeah, it's very complex.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of feelings going on there.
But you kind of feel it all, and it's like it's open to some interpretation.
When it ends, good. I just went, "Wow,
yeah,
we're ending there."
You're like, "Whoa." Oof, I like let out of breath. Just imagine when we first meet Igor and he's tied her up and he's holding her down. You're like, there's no scenario in hell that this guy ends up banging this girl, but we get there, and it's surprising, but it's also touching.
It feels.
I felt like even from the get go when he's trying to talk her down from being upset and everything,
he's got something
like
there.
He was
just a good person, though, right? He's just treating her. He's the only one that sees her. He's the
I don't
only
know
one.
if he's a good person, but I think he was scoping her out and he was attracted to her and felt bad for her.
Everyone has just dispensed her and disregarded
can't say
her.
he's a good person, but he sees her for more than what everyone else sees her as.
He sees what Ivan put her through.
No. Well, yes, of course, but I'm saying he sees her. Everyone in the movie besides him, all the males, everyone in that Russian Armenian gang, all see her as an object, as a piece of meat, as someone that they just need to get rid of. Where he's like, wait a minute, like this is a real person that has gone through, that is going, like she's getting the shit end of the stick here. And like, while he might not be a good person, he's like, this person deserves some respect. Like she's going through it.
Yeah.
And by the end, like she's actually earning some respect by like telling Ivan off, telling the family off. So he just like feels, he feels bad for her.
And
he's a humble dude. Like he drives his grandmother's car.
Yeah,
right?
That he keeps mentioning his grandmother's stuff, that he probably takes care of her. I think this gets to her. He also tells her, you don't want to be part of this family. And I agree. Like, I think she dodged a fucking bullet. You don't want to be part of this fucking family. They're a bunch of fucking crazy Russian oligarch psychopaths. But she could have got a little bit more money out of it. Maybe the ring will help. And so at the end, what is the message? Is there a message, or is this just like shit just is going to happen and this is, you got to deal with it?
I feel like you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. That's all it is.
Yeah,
it's like,
a little bit. Yeah, sure.
You're a stripper. I think every stripper or most strippers are looking to land a big whale. That's their ticket out of it, out of the life. Like, listen, if you walk into a strip club and you're a baller, they smell it. They come flocking out, and they want that money. They look at your car keys. They look to see what kind of car you're driving. They look at all that stuff. They're looking to see what you're wearing on your feet.
It was really her speaking Russian was the one thing that, made her special.
Yeah, I guess his English wasn't that great.
She can understand Russian.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was why he picked her.
But yeah, I think every stripper was looking to land that guy. And so I feel like her motivation was completely realistic. And I don't know. I think that on the other hand, if you're a rich dude, you're used to just throwing money at women and using them.
How much money did he spend? Like, I was trying to keep track. That's a lot of fucking money. If you think about all the things he did.
Yeah, but he's a spoiled,
he's a little piece of shit. He's a little spoiled piece of shit.
He's a shitty kid.
Yeah, easily $100,000.
But as far as the message, movies you can interpret. That's what's cool about movies, especially movies like this that are actually well made and have layers and all that. For me, I didn't really get a message out of it. I thought it was just a really interesting story about following this moment in this dancer's life, this stripper's life, and how she went on this crazy experience, and how throughout the movie we think of her as this kind of strong, in a way, even though she's a stripper, there's like a stronger character, right? She's playing the stronger woman that is comfortable with who she is and the life she's living.
Agency, pretty much.
And then by the end, you see that it breaks her, and you kind of end on a note where it's like, you've been laughing this whole time, you've been wanting her to get her comeuppance, and then at the end of the movie, it's just kind of a downer where you're like, fuck.
She's back where she started.
Well, it's been a day. It's been a rough day for her.
That is a day. So how long did the movie take? Probably I think
it was
it was 2 weeks.
Oh, you mean in terms of the movie?
Because when they return, remember, Diamond is 2 weeks to the day.
I think it's a little 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah. So as far as a wild adventure story, that's
Now let's. I listen to Rewatchables, which is a Bill Simmons podcast, a lot, and one of the things they ask, one of the topics they have is probably an answerable question. So I'm going to take that topic and I'm going to put it here.
Yep.
At the end of this movie, after she's done crying, what happens next with her and Igor? Do they get together? Is that a one-time thing? Do they become lifelong friends? What happens with Igor and Vaughn and Anya?
They never see each other again.
If she's smart and kind of comes to her senses, she would be like, "I'm sorry, this shouldn't have happened. I gotta go. See you later. That's it. Done."
And she never sees him again.
But maybe Igor is that sympathetic that maybe he checks up on her a couple of days later just to make sure she's doing okay. Maybe by then she's calmed down and she sees that this is a good guy.
You know, the point of that question, Imran, is to do something like Rugs, where you give an opinion and you stay with it, not to give 7 scenarios.
That's 2 scenarios. I think, I think she don't talk to him ever again. And Igor just had the craziest experience of his life.
I think Igor kind of longs for her, and Anya feels something for him, but also thinks of him as a reminder of the bad thing that happened.
Yeah.
And gets back into the club and never finds her whale, and kind of ends up being like 35 and with some broke down dude, and then just has to potentially should be going to therapy about shit.
You think she learns any lesson coming out of this? I don't know. She got to make money.
No. I mean, she definitely learns a lesson, but you know, she does. I think the part of the crying too is like she's back at square one.
Yeah,
and she's not even she's less than square one because they're not going to allow her in that club again.
Right, and her name is probably tarnished.
Yeah, because she just got into a huge brawl in that club.
They all talk to each other, so
I'll let her back in. Sure, no problem.
Lulu will stick up for her. Maybe if she had picked
Those
up
things happen all the time.
If she had picked up the milk, maybe none of this would have happened. Do you ever think about that?
I gotta say one thing before we end this thing. I just want to tip my hat to Mickey Madison or whatever. Mikey Madison.
Yeah.
She did great. She did great.
Because she had to carry this whole movie.
Yeah.
And she was in a couple of things. She was in that Quentin Tarantino Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah.
For like a scene or two.
Yeah. Real small.
And Margaret Qualley, she was like in that movie and was the breakout star, like of the starlet of that movie.
Yep.
And
she
got a lot of work. She was in The Substance. She was in a lot of other movies.
Yeah.
And this one, she didn't really do much. So she really took a huge risk and she went all out. She was naked. She was grinding on dudes.
Yeah.
She was Brooklyn accenting. She was
to learn Russian and shit. Yeah.
So she really carried the movie. And this is the role of a lifetime. I don't know if she's going to ever get something like this again. So
it's deserving of the Oscar. Absolutely. I wanted Demi to win just because of the whole thing, but for pure talent and craft and what you went through in this absolutely is the Oscar-winning performance.
I mean, she holds up the whole movie.
Yeah, the movie rests on her, and at least for me, I think it just feels like she feels so real.
Yeah,
she definitely carries the movie, but the way it feels I thought a lot of it felt very authentic.
Yeah, and the whole movie is like that. It just feels like you're just following her around, and it's almost like a documentary.
Do you feel like there was a lot of ad-libs?
I feel like there was maybe some improv here and there. Definitely in the strip club parts in the beginning where she's just walking around talking to people. And maybe in that lot of all that yelling and talking over each other.
Precious Gems, what's the name of it?
Oh, Uncut Gems.
Uncut
yes,
Gems.
I've heard it. Yes, compared to that kind of thing.
Uncut Gems, where it has that tension.
Yeah,
it doesn't sustain it for long enough, but it does have it there.
And you wonder if there's danger, if it's gonna get violent, but then you realize no, these guys don't want to hurt her. So then it kind of is like a comedic tone, but also a dire situation, and
it's like a nice gangster movie.
Yeah, it's like a friendly. Let's do this. How about you rank this based on the last 5 best picture? Last 4. Well, I know we've seen 4 of these. One of us may have seen all 5. So the last 5 best picture winners: Anora, Oppenheimer, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Coda, Nomadland. I've seen 4 of those.
I've only seen 3.
Okay. Ruggs, have you seen all 5 of those?
I haven't seen Coda.
Okay, yeah. Coda's the one I haven't seen.
Yeah, but I heard that's not that great anyway.
How does this for me out of these movies? I fucking really love Everything Everywhere All at Once. I will put that at the top, and then maybe Oppenheimer, and then Anora. Then
I would actually go Oppenheimer, Anora.
Oh,
Everything Everywhere All at Once is good, but
I love that movie.
It's a good movie. Trust me, it's a great movie.
So you would do Oppenheimer, Anora, Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yeah.
Nomadland is definitely at the bottom.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
For me, I've seen Anora, Oppenheimer, Nomadland. Probably should watch those other two. I will at some point, just because this movie did tickle my Oscar fancy. I could feel as I was sitting there, I could feel Anthony Polanski kind of rumbling up my stomach and coming out and wanting to like burst out of my chest. Like I could feel the rumblies and my tumblies, and all of a sudden a knife coming inside of my chest and ripping back out. But I was able to sustain and put him back in.
God.
Yeah.
Okay.
I shunned Anthony Polanski, but it felt like he might
the
come
urge
back.
was there. Wow.
Yeah.
I want him back.
Yeah.
I want him back.
I don't know if we want him back or not, because he definitely drinks with. I mean, he's very foo. He's a fart sniffer, that kind of guy.
Movie snobs.
Yeah. He's not very pleasant.
You don't got to be a movie snob to like Anora, though, I think.
No, I don't think you have to be a movie snob to not like Anora.
Yeah.
That said, of the three that I've seen, I would actually rank Anora number one. I think Oppenheimer is a better made movie.
Yeah.
But it's also got way more money. Anora and a bigger, better cast. Anora, I think, is just a more like I could throw Anora on again. Oppenheimer, I'm never going to watch that again.
That's a good point. I would not watch Oppenheimer.
No Man Land is of the three. No, I mean, No Man Land's that's a fucking boring movie.
We should have reviewed Everything Everywhere All at Once. I'm really curious if you want to watch it. It's fucking wild. I love it. Oppenheimer, I agree. I wouldn't watch it again. Anora for $6 million. Sean Baker also cast this movie, and I think the casting is very good. They're actually adding next year. There will be a casting Oscars category added to the. He would have won that, I think, this year. He would have won fucking 6 Oscars.
Let me ask you both. You put on your put on your best tuxedo.
Yeah.
Walk down that red carpet.
Yeah.
You get a little ballad at the end of all the movies you've seen in 2024. Is Anora the movie you're going, this is the best picture in the world? I'm saying it like as if I'm a spoof guy.
I can't even remember what I saw this year, but I would say that Nosferatu is definitely a player. I would definitely say that Anora is a player. And I didn't see like all these other ones. I didn't see
Conclave. Yeah, the 10 movies again it went up against Emilia Perez, A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Nickel Boys, I'm Still Here, The Substance.
I didn't see all
Dune
those.
Part 2, Wicked, Anora, The Brutalist. Now
I saw Wicked.
Boy,
Anora's way better than Wicked.
Okay,
better than Dune Part 2.
I don't know. I think
it's
it's
a different movie.
I think Anora's a great movie, though. I don't know. It's a good movie.
What about you?
I think it's good.
I saw Emilia Perez, Conclave, Dune Part 2, The Substance.
Not even of these movies. I'm just talking about movies you've seen this year. This 2024.
I mentioned that because The Substance really has still stuck with me. This is a wild movie that's really good. Has a great message. It sticks with you. I really wish it got a little more love, but I don't. Again, I hesitate to say yes. This is the best movie of the year. Because Conclave was really good too.
What about Strange Darling? You don't think that was good?
Darling was very good and surprising and a complete.
It's a lot like Anora, I think, too.
Low budget.
It's got this woman's performance that hangs the whole movie on it.
Yep.
And it gets batshit crazy. And it's got the Quentin Tarantino.
Which movie is this again?
It's called Strange Darling.
Strange Darling.
Very low budget movie. We both
that wasn't
saw.
Even nominated for anything.
I know, and I would probably say I think I like that better than Anora.
Yeah,
because that is very Quentin Tarantino. Where this one's kind of like trying to be, but it just is.
Well, this one's more of like a more romantic.
Yeah,
it's a more romantic movie. It's
like a dark.
Because it's like, oh, this dream is happening.
Yeah.
Strange Darling has that for about 5 minutes in the beginning, and then all of a sudden it goes crazy. But
I haven't seen The Brutalist. And I hear that's the fucking amazing and it's epic, and so maybe that should have been the best movie. So I think it's interesting that they picked this based on its subject matter.
I mean, it's definitely not the type of movie that the Oscars would have picked. As a best picture. I do like. As I was thinking about this, I do like the black comedy kind of genre. That's satirical, like not satirical. It's black dark comedy.
Dark comedy. That's what this is.
Which is what this is called, like a dark comedy drama. I think it's a fun.
Did you watch Poor Things?
No, I haven't seen that. One of them is in that too. I think
she might be in it, but like that's
similar, right?
Not really similar. It's like if you took Frankenstein and this movie and put them together.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's what that
I
is.
mean, it is a lot of fucking, right? Like a girl just being fucked.
Yeah, it's about a guy who creates a woman, or like I don't know if she creates, but I forget. It's like some kind of a Frankenstein thing where he raises this woman as like that's a grown up child. So she's like fully grown, but she's like a child in her mind.
Yeah,
and she just discovers like masturbating and like sex.
Okay,
and she just runs around and fucks everything that moves.
Wow.
And they're trying to get her like put the genie back in the bottle, but she's like, imagine you were like a 4-year-old or a 5-year-old, but with a woman's body, and you're running around just like, oh, it's fun to fuck, and she doesn't know it's bad or good or whatever, and they're trying to fucking control her, and she starts to like have control over her own sexuality. She starts working at she likes having sex with her. She starts becoming a prostitute, and it was a good movie. I mean, it reminded me of. You take it, it's like a little bit of Quentin Tarantino, a little bit of some weird, very, very weird set design. It's an experience, but like there's a lot of movies that are like really cool that we don't get to watch because they're so offbeat and crazy. But that's another one.
Poor Things.
I remember.
Poor Things.
Yeah, that one got nominated for Best Picture.
Yeah,
last
it was in the run. Yep. It's on Hulu, I think. You can watch it. It's on streaming somewhere. All right. Anyways, let's wrap this up. Final thoughts. Anthony, give me final thoughts. Give me a number.
I had a really good time with this movie. I didn't know what to expect. It was a similar experience to when I watched Parasite when I first got into the Oscars, where I went, I don't know what to expect in this movie. And I watched it and I went, whoa.
Yeah.
That was cool. You know, not as big of a, obviously Parasite's much more of a twist and gets really dark. This is more of a dark comedy. But I just liked following Anora or Annie and Ivan, and I was wrapped up in her journey, and I liked the switches and tones from kind of this peek into a dancer life, strip club life, to a fairy tale fucking movie.
Yeah.
With a goofy lead actor with the Russian kid, Vanya, Ivan.
Yeah.
Then it becomes a goofball chase, and then it becomes like this like family drama with her stuck in the middle, and then kind of ends on a really sad note, you know, where she's back to square one, and you followed her, and all of this was for naught. Like, at anything, it just probably broke her. While she's probably has more money, it's emotionally she's probably a wreck now after something like this. So doesn't leave you feeling good. Whole range of emotions. I really enjoyed it. 10 out of 10.
Damn.
10 out of 10. I had a great fucking time with it.
Rugs.
The type of movie that makes when I watch a movie like that, I go, man, I should get out of my wheelhouse sometimes. And watch
it does make you appreciate like indie movies and just movies and storytelling.
Yeah, just other
good
movies.
editing in general. Yeah. Regs, final thoughts, score.
I give it an 8.5. It's definitely a recommend.
Yeah.
Definitely a tour de force for Mikey Madison, and another great movie by Sean Baker. I think he did a great job. He made this movie all by himself pretty much.
Yeah.
He shot it, hardly any money.
Yeah.
Edited it, did the whole thing, and it works really well. And I like to watch his movies. It's just like him and Robert Eggers. I like their movies.
We got two like interesting auteur directors there. His wife is also a producer on this movie. Also, I heard all like the sex scenes, Sean Baker and his wife would show Mikey Madison like what they wanted her to do.
That's weird.
It's a little strange, but she felt very comfortable with them. And this was a question about intimacy coordinator, and she didn't want one because she had them showing her kind of what, the positions and the moves. I thought that was interesting. But I gotta give this. It's a 9. It's a very fun, charming, engaging, entertaining movie. And yeah, Sean Baker's efforts and achievement, having done everything, are very impressive. Mikey Madison's great. All the cast is great. Like, the characters are all great. You just love watching them do things. And it's good.
It's just to add to it's like it's a movie where it's blending multiple genres like drama, comedy, thriller,
like real life
action. So it takes you on the roller coaster of emotions where you're laughing and then feeling sad and then not knowing what's going to happen and feeling peril and danger So, yeah, I just wanted to add, he does a really good job of like blending genres, which I always enjoy in movies, is when you can blend things and you're just feeling a whole bunch of shit throughout the movie.
When the story can do that to you, you've definitely succeeded in the emotional journey. But again, and then it's very like life, where it's quirky, it's offbeat, it's dark. You know what's going to happen. It's funny. All those things. Great. It's a fun time. And yeah, by the end, you're just like, whoa, that was something.
Yep.
All right, let's do some news from the nation. It's time for news from the nation. It's time for news from the nation.
It stinks. It stinks.
Sounds real.
It stinks.
That's as real as Anora. What's funny is, so Ruggs, you'd put up your Anora review. I've just posted it. And while we were recording, Gerald Morris, our buddy, heard from him, who's on the Patreon, saw it. He's listening to it, but I get a message from him during the show. It says, OMG, if Rugboy didn't like Anora, I riot, Patreon cancel. Oh, shit.
Oh.
So,
I think I gave it a positive review.
I think Gerald Morris will be pleased. You actually gave it a fair, positive review. Don't cancel your Patreon, Gerald.
As opposed to all the unfair reviews he gives, right?
Yeah, well, they're all fair. They're all fair until they're not.
Until you disagree, then that's unfair.
Yes, then I'm coming after you.
I don't remember what I said on Patreon, but I just remembered I said basically the same thing.
You did. It was a lot of the similar things. It was an interesting reaction. And then the other thing I have is regarding last week's talk about a sports tournament possible in our future. Our buddy Dirk Overton, he's from Australia. I believe he's a Patreon supporter. He left this comment on the Patreon. He said, love the idea of a sports showdown tournament. Genuinely surprised it hasn't happened sooner. It's really the only way we'll get Running Man and Ruggy Balboa invested in sports. Dirk, that's brilliant. Love that. You get points for that.
That's awesome.
That's very well done.
That's something I would have come up with if we only reviewed those movies.
Yes.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, that's really good.
He says a few of my favorites I'd like to chuck in the ring. The Fighter, my personal number one. Shaolin Soccer, Warrior, The Air Up There, Blue Chips, and then Cracker Jack. I just had to throw in some Aussie flavor. Must be an Australian movie. He says, let the games begin.
The Fighter. Who's in that? Is that Jake Gyllenhaal?
Yeah, which one is The Fighter?
Or is that Mark Wahlberg?
Look it up. The Fighter.
2010.
David O. Russell, great director. That is
Wahlberg, Christian Bale.
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, is it the Rocky director? No.
David O. Russell.
Oh, David O. Russell.
He's the one who did that movie Silver Linings Playbook.
Three Kings,
is a David O.
American
Russell
Hustle.
movie?
Yeah.
He's a good director.
I know David O. Russell. I watched his first movie. You ever seen? It's called Spanking the Monkey. Have you seen this movie?
I've done that movie.
Yes. No.
I haven't seen it.
It's not what you think it is. Let me tell you. It's quite.
Is there a monkey?
There's no monkey.
False advertising.
But it is an interesting movie about, incest. That's all I'm going to say. And then he does Flirting with Disaster, which is also great. Three Kings, of course, and The Fighter. Ooh, The Fighter's a good one. But here's the thing. I don't see any way this thing ends without Rocky winning the fucking whole thing. I don't know. Or maybe.
Really?
I mean, Rocky is the prototype sports movie, really.
I don't know. I mean, have you seen all the sports movies?
No. But I did.
I will say Rocky is the movie that basically made the genre, like gave the template for what the genre should be, right?
Yeah.
An underdog story.
Yeah.
All that stuff. You know what's funny though? I was listening to a podcast about Rocky and Karate Kid.
Oh.
Rewatchables, both of them.
Yeah.
And someone brought up a point that I thought was very entertaining, very interesting, is that in movies we love a good underdog story, right?
Yeah.
But in real life, no one gives a fuck about the underdogs. Everyone likes a good dynasty.
That's why that's a good point.
Right? Like in sports, we always like for example, in sports, we're always like, oh, we'll pop up to the Yankees or the Lakers, and then when an underdog story comes up, we're like, oh fuck, that ruined everything.
You want the winners to keep winning, essentially.
Right, yeah. We celebrate the winners. We don't celebrate the guy that came out of nowhere as much. We only do that in movies.
But that's why we have those movies. because they're not gonna fucking
Movies aren't real life.
Right.
Not real life. That is interesting. I did listen to the rewatchables Rocky that just came out this week.
It's a good one. Yeah,
it's very good.
They did a rewatchables Karate Kid about 5 years ago, which was also.
Oh, I got to go back and listen to that one.
Man, they're both good. They said a lot of the same things we said.
Yeah. Oh,
they're both on the hosts of that show were both on kind of on the LaRusso was kind of a punk idiot and Zabka kind of got screwed. They were on your side, Imran.
Yeah, see? I'm Team Johnny. Fuck Daniel LaRusso. Team Johnny all the way. Come on, he was on Sports Illustrated by the end. They don't even print that magazine anymore, and he was on it. That's how incredible he is.
They reprinted it just for Johnny.
They brought it out of print just for him. All right, let's do some. What are we watching? Ruggs, the fuck are you watching? Couple things.
I watched Wicked.
Oh my God.
It was an Oscar-nominated film,
Yes,
and
it
I was
was.
like, let me see this shit. Is this Oscar-worthy?
Listen, everybody loves this movie, Ruggs, apparently.
I don't love this movie.
Oh, shit.
Oh, shit.
Is it good? What'd you think?
I've seen the musical.
Oh, you have?
I've seen the music. Yeah, what was some chick once?
Okay.
And whatever, I had to watch it. And I remember how the story unfolds. And I think that this movie is longer. The one movie is only half of it. It's longer than the musical.
The whole musical?
So it's like super padded with stuff.
Okay.
I could say that Cynthia Erivo is very good. And Ariana Grande was actually surprising in this movie.
That's what I've heard.
But yeah, I just don't like the story. I never liked the story of Wicked. I always thought it was lazy and stupid, and it didn't. It just threw Wizard of Oz canon out the window, and I hate that. I hate when you take something that's well known and establishes the success of something, and then you just change it for no apparent reason. And I don't even like the character of Elphaba. I think that she's very one-dimensional. Because she's just like, there's nothing like when you make a story like about a bad guy and you tell a different twist on it,
right?
Like you got to at least have some essence of the character there. And if you've ever watched Wizard of Oz, which I grew up watching when I was a little kid, like a bunch of times, the fucking witch is a bitch, and like not only that, but she's based on the next door neighbor of Dorothy. And this all goes on in Dorothy's head. This is not a real place. Oz is not a real place. So
oh yeah, that's right.
So you take Oz and you make it real, but now you're like, all right, now Elphaba was always a nice girl. She was just unfortunately green, and so everybody scorned her. But she was just a nice person, and even in the play, she never becomes wicked. She never is. And then if you get to the part where Dorothy lands and the house kills her sister, which is the Wicked Witch of the East.
Right.
She doesn't like stop and go, oh, mate, if there's this nice person that we've seen this whole movie, would have been like, she's so empathetic and she would have been like, oh, I'm sorry, your house flew on. I know you didn't steer it onto my sister. Why the fuck is my sister so lame that you couldn't get out of the way? I don't know. But I don't know, whatever. The point is that she wouldn't have. It just doesn't make sense. Like she has to be a maniacal witch for that character to work. So it just does it.
Do you like the music at least? Is the music any good?
No. I think there's too many songs, and they're all like, there's a couple of songs that you need to have in there because they serve as a storytelling. Like there's a song about them hating each other, roommates, because they have to roommate with each other. And then it takes you through the passage of time in their relationship, and you see them grow. So those songs are great. But then there's some songs like, I just got into college and I'm going to meet the wizard and it's going to be great. And it's just like, it's going on for a really long time. And you're like, oh my God, when's this song going to end? And there's a lot of that. So
would you recommend?
I mean, if you love musicals and you don't care about characters, or you just want to see a movie about a witch that was wrongfully scorned, you'll like this movie.
It'll be on Peacock soon. I gotta watch it to see if I like musicals.
I think it's fine. It's fine. Okay. It's not bad. I'm not gonna say it's terrible.
I mean, they were
you probably wouldn't like, because you don't even agree with the concept of the story.
Yeah, I just don't like the way that I just never liked Wicked. Yeah. I never liked it. I never liked the idea of it. I'm like, because when I went to go see the play, I was like, all right, let's see what happens to make this bitch crazy.
Yeah.
Nothing ever she never becomes crazy. She's just a nice person. And then she's just wrongfully accused. And so,
of course,
everybody who's good is evil.
So she was misunderstood the whole time.
So they flip all the characters around. And I'm like, okay, so every character that's good is now evil, and she's the only good character.
Everybody, yeah.
I'm like, get the fuck out of here. I just hate that. I'm like, that's just fucking lazy as fuck. Like, let's get some, like, the most complicated character is actually Ariana Grande's character in this, because she's an asshole, but she also is nice sometimes. And you're like, oh, she, like the asshole, like kind of break, like, you know, it has dimensions.
It actually has, nuance. It's not one
like
note.
she's not like this one note character. So
interesting.
I don't like, I just don't like the concept of Wicked. The movie's fine. It's entertaining. It's well performed. There's music. There's fucking CG. There's all that. I mean,
they were singing live while they were swinging on harnesses and shit. It's all live singing. Like that's impressive.
It's impressive.
Old school sets, old school Hollywood musical kind of thing.
There's some really nice stuff in there. I can't shit on it. I just don't like Wicked the concept. I don't like so I can never be fully, and I don't like too much singing.
Yeah,
even though it's a musical, like none of the songs are really catchy.
Yeah.
Except for like maybe one or two.
Defying Gravity. Now I know that fucking song.
Yeah. They sing it all the time. And then there's like the one where they're going to be friends or whatever. And that's the other one.
Okay. So that's good. You can hear more on our Patreon if you want from Rugboy. You guys caught up on Invincible, Anthony?
Oh, yeah, I am. Great episode.
Spoiler alert.
Episode 7, The Invincible
I forgot
War.
that we talked about that, or we didn't talk about that.
Quick thoughts on that?
Oh, wow. I mean, that was a hell of an episode. I loved it. I was edge of my seat the whole time. How are they going to get out of this? You know, with the marks everywhere, multiverse marks, and the heroes, a lot of them dying, and just the destruction. And, you know, I think it's a great... I like the story because it's one of those scenarios. I like when they put heroes in scenarios where they're in basically no-win situations.
Yeah, damn near impossible here.
Yeah, and you got to kind of figure it out. And I love the ending where it's a good hook for the 8th episode or whatever that's 8th, right?
Yeah, it's the finale. Next week we will discuss the whole season.
Good hook for that. I mean,
Conquest, voiced by Jeffrey Dean Morgan, just like Walking Dead. You got Negan and Glenn again right there. Reunion.
What are you talking about?
Stephen Yeun.
That's
Jeffrey Dean Morgan reunited on
what?
Invincible.
When?
Jeffrey Dean Morgan voices Conquest.
Oh, okay.
So and Negan but Ash's
is he gonna knock his head off with a baseball bat again?
I love that ending where he just goes.
Invincible my rival worm.
Well, no, and Invincible goes. This is basically the wrong time.
Yeah,
you caught me at the worst time. I've been looking to punch someone really hard.
Oh shit! I mean, I was like, on one hand, he went through all the shit, and now this guy shows up. I was like, fuck, but. Yeah, he's got a lot of aggression he can.
Yeah, he's like trying to put the city back together after it's been laid to waste by all of his doppelgangers,
right.
And he just picks up yet another rock, and it's just like a piece of a person. He just like breaks down.
Yeah.
And this motherfucker shows up. He's like,
let's
all right.
go. He's like, fuck. Bro, Angstrom Levy getting stitched back together and gets away, and then his technicians turn on him. Fantastic.
I also love all the Invincibles and like the little nuggets where some are like, I killed mom. I miss mom.
I know. The one dude wanted to go. Yes. The one dude wanted to go back, find his mom, and take her back. And the other dude's like, I can't wait to kill her again. It's great the first time.
Some of them to even Eve. I hate you in my dimension.
Yeah. I killed you once. I'll kill you again.
Yeah.
Oh, man. They snap her leg, kind of taking her out, and it fucks him up. It's all very good.
Yeah.
This show is just so fucking good.
Rex is dead, right?
Yes, dude, I felt the worst about that. The whole thing exploded. He exploded his skeleton. I was like, is Rex really dead? And you know he's going to die because earlier in the episode, he goes, for the first time in my life, I'm actually in a really great place.
Right.
And I was like, bro, why'd you have to say that? You fucked now. And I can't believe they killed her. I love Rex. I got so attached to this character. They wrote him so well.
He had a nice little journey, right? From this
Manzukis.
This asshole. This very selfish asshole to now a very selfless guy at the end.
Sacrifices himself and then is Darkwing Duck? Is it Darkwing?
Darkwing.
Is he dead? You just see him take one of the marks into the Shadow Universe and he never comes back. Them fighting was brutal. It's
I mean,
great.
what's cool
It's
about
fucking
Invincible is, what are we in, season 3?
Yep.
It doesn't have all the baggage that all these other comics have.
Yeah.
Right? So we can build a story and we can add all these layers and it still feels fresh. And it doesn't have 60, 80
That's a
years
good
of
point.
baggage, right?
Yeah,
it's harder when you have all the, it's fun watching something be built.
Yeah.
Whereas, when you're watching Spider-Man or anything else, it's hard to just keep building.
But the thing is, I think that they're keeping to the comics. Not 100%, but they're keeping relatively the main beats. Everything feels like the comic. It doesn't feel like it's really that far off.
No, yeah, it does. I think it's very similar from what I've read.
But the comic itself is something that's like fresh but familiar, right? He takes all the superhero tropes and builds this new thing. And he's great at like translating from the comic to the screen, Robert Kirkman, because he sees where he can make things better, where he can streamline things.
Well, I also think they do a really good job. Like Invincible, the comic, and now the TV show. So Invincible, the comic came out, was for 15 years, January 2003 to February 2018. So 15 years.
Yeah.
What I think is well done is, like, this could just be a parody. Because there's a lot of, the characters are all parodies of other characters from Marvel and DC.
Yeah.
So it could easily, in the wrong hand, just be a parody and not really take itself too seriously. But while it has the echoes of all those other things, it's really fucking good. Like, they do a really good job of making it its own thing, despite the fact that they're clearly aping different storylines from different runs of comic books.
It's just good writing. Oh, and that dude in the Tomb character shows up. That was weird. Remember that guy with the 2 women from like 2 seasons ago? And I was like, what the fuck? What happened? I forgot about this guy. So they throw in weird things, but I'm sure it's building somewhere. And they're having the Invincible War be 1 episode, 3 days. Sometimes it's going by fast because they were cutting to moments where like Donald and Cecil are all fucked up, and you didn't see what the fuck happened.
I feel like this run of comics is the only thing that's kind of comparable to it from Image is probably like Savage Dragon.
Oh, a little bit, yeah. And
I feel like this is the better one to bet on because it's so superhero-y. So is Savage Dragon, but he's a cop. But this has got like what Anthony was saying. It's got all the tropes. It's got all the stuff. And they could just kill characters.
Yeah.
They could just lay waste to people and do things in ways.
Well, how many times have they killed Immortal on this fucking show? He keeps getting his head popped off. And then he comes back.
And they have all these ways of getting people back even after they're dead.
Yeah.
You have all these multiple universes now. You got all this stuff, these portals.
Would this be like how you do the multiverse that's accessible and it's small and it's not like this crazy big thing that Marvel is doing? I mean, it's essentially multiverse.
They can afford to do this because the comic book is really, or this story is really just about Invincible and his family.
Right.
Whereas the multiverse in Marvel and DC is about, they try to incorporate every hero.
Right.
So
it's about Mark. It's always about, show's about Mark.
I like the line where what's the guy's name with the glasses that's a robot now?
Donald's
all like you just cut to Donald and what's his face, the guy with him,
Cecil.
Yeah, they're both just fucking beat up.
Yeah,
Donald's all like half machine, and
Yeah.
then Donald's just like, "I'm best out there," and he goes, and Cecil's just something along the lines, "Well, you'll die," and then Donald just goes, "Yeah, that's what I do."
I love that. I love that line too. He's like, "It's what I do, sir."
I love that.
I
love that little line.
Rebuilt.
I have a question for you guys. I haven't read obviously all the Kirkman books, but we know there's Invincible and The Walking Dead. Of those two, what do you like better? Obviously, you probably haven't read all the issues, but just what do you like in terms of story? And try to transport yourself to The Walking Dead when it was good, not when it got bad.
You're talking about the show, not the comic.
I'm just talking about in general. What property do you like better?
I mean, those are his 2 main things that he's done.
Yeah.
I have read all of The Walking Dead.
Oh.
I've read the whole thing. I've not read anything Invincible. I love The Walking Dead. The show in the beginning was very good. And Kirkman, again, does the same thing where he adapts, but he kind of modifies and improves things when he's adapting. But the Walking Dead comic book was an amazing experience because there was tension. You would turn the page and there'd be like a jump scare or a big moment. It was like reading a Stephen King book. You would just fly through these issues, and the pacing was great. And I fucking loved it, that comic book. And I'm sure I would love Invincible, and someday I'm going to want to read it. But man, that's hard to choose. I would pick Walking Dead a little bit more only because I've read it and I'm more familiar with it. But I don't know. Rugs.
I don't know. I mean, I think that Walking Dead is his baby. Like Invincible is his reaction to comic books,
right,
and superheroes. But I think that Walking Dead is more like a complete invention by him. You know, like he just imagined this whole world and wasn't really pulling from anything. Really, I don't know. Like not an obvious thing that we know about. So I just remember everyone really liked both when they were out.
Yeah.
But I think Walking Dead was had more I don't know, pull, I guess.
Did they overlap? Were they coming out at the same time?
That what's crazy is they both, Invincible was 144 issues, Walking Dead was 193. Both started in 2003, and Invincible went to 2018, Walking Dead 2019. So he was doing both at the same time.
He was doing both at the same time? Why was I not reading fucking Invincible? That's crazy.
Because you know what? It took me a while to get into it at first because I felt like it felt a lot like Savage Dragon.
Yeah.
Because Savage Dragon was like Eric Larson went and he created his own comic book universe, like ripping off of like Marvel and DC.
Yep.
And this was like the same thing, but only with a Superman character.
Yeah.
Instead of a Hulk character. So very similar in a lot of ways. So I was like, I already just read all of Savage Dragon. I'm going to read this now. And so then I started hearing people say, oh, it's super violent. You got to check it out. He's fucking ripping people's arms off and shit. So then I bought the collected editions, and then they were hard to find, the collected editions. So I had to, finding them in the stores was hard. So I only had, I have like maybe like a handful of these collected editions.
Yeah, the Walking Dead trade paperbacks were everywhere, right? They were a great way. I lent them out to people. I feel like The Walking Dead was a bigger hit for him.
Absolutely.
Possibly. So, but man, this show makes me want to read the fucking entire run of Invincible. And I think I'm going to do that one of these days.
In between the 75 shows you watch?
Yes, in between watching 17 things.
How many years is it? 10 years or 12 years or something?
15 years of you said, Anthony.
What's that?
150 episodes?
What's that?
Issues?
144 for Invincible, 15 years.
So that's, I mean, it's a nice chunk of issues. And I also like both of these properties. He does end them, right? He kind of, it's not going on forever like Superman or Spider-Man. It has an end.
Remember when Mark Millar was like the big fucking guy and then all of his properties didn't do shit?
And then they tried to turn them into like movies and TV shows, and that didn't.
And none of them took off.
Really
Mark Millar, yeah. Well,
all right.
I mean, he did some shit. What did he do? The Authority now.
He did Jupiter's Legacy, and then nobody watched it.
That show wasn't that great.
It was horrible.
Yeah. I mean, wasn't Wanted? Isn't that Millar?
Wanted was Millar.
Yeah, there's always, everyone's got their run, you had Millar, you got Kirkman, you got Dan Slott. I mean, these are all the greats.
The greats, for sure.
Kirkman, though.
Modern day 2000 Mount Rushmore. Those three for sure.
And you got like Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg with The Boys and all those things over there. But Kirkman's managed to.
Well, The Boys, what? The Boys is who? No, The Boys is Ellis, right?
Garth Ennis.
Ennis, yeah.
Garth Ennis, who's
he's done a lot of shit.
Twisted Mind as well.
Yeah.
Anyways, anything
else?
Is
that
you
the four?
mention?
Wait, is that the four? No, I'm half joking. Is that the four of the Mount Rushmore of the 2000s? Kirkman, Slott, and
no, not Slott.
Dan Slott out there. Mark Millar, Robert Kirkman, Garth Ennis. But no, Dan Slott does not belong in that.
No, but like Dan Slott didn't create anything of his own that was like worth anything.
Yeah, he's not.
I was just waiting for Ruggs to start chiming in on Slott.
He didn't.
No, but like as a creator, people who start their own books, isn't?
Yeah.
I would probably put the whoever does.
Who's the fourth one?
I I didn't want to say Straczynski, but I would say because he did. But that's not his own thing. Let's see who he got here.
I mean, you wouldn't put McFarlane in there? No, he didn't really. Well, you
Ed
could
Brubaker?
put down Todd McFarlane.
Brubaker's a good
Ed
one.
Brubaker is a good one.
Because he has sex. Doesn't he have sex criminals?
Yeah, that's the original Image.
That's a good book.
I think that would make a great movie or show. Anthony, you know what Sex Criminals is about?
I own I own it. I just have never read it.
You never read it?
I have it somewhere. Yeah.
These two couple has a superpower that when they have sex, time stops.
Yeah, I know. And
so they have sex and then they rob banks while time stops.
Yep. Yeah, I own it. I've never gotten around to reading it.
It's a great idea. It's a great fucking idea.
There are a lot of good artists. I'm not artists. Excuse me, writers out there.
Yeah, creators.
I wonder if last thought on that.
Yeah.
I wonder if like these guys now, like, is anyone reading any comics? I'm so out of the game when it comes to comics.
I was thinking about that recently too. I was like, man, I haven't.
Like, what is a good issue? How much does it sell?
Oh, numbers?
Yeah, I have no idea. But that's the best places to mine for modern TV, right? It's just you find a indie run, an Image Comics run, and movie or TV.
I mean, there's a lot of shit they're doing Berserker, which is Keanu Reeves' comic.
Yeah. I was at he had a little panel at Comic-Con about Berserker.
Yeah, so
you could put Mike Mignola, Hellboy on that list, I think.
What are we doing? Like modern 2000s? Is Hellboy 2000s? That's old.
That's older. Yeah. I'm just saying, in terms of a creator with his own.
Who did Transmetropolitan and all those things? He's a big. Is that Warren Ellis?
That's Warren Ellis.
Warren Ellis. Yeah. So there's Warren Ellis and there's Garth Ennis.
And Derek Robertson has worked with both of them as the artist on The Boys and other things.
Oh yeah, Warren Ellis. He's done a lot of good shit.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? I got to get back into some of these guys.
Who did Why the Last Man? That was Brian K. Vaughan.
Brian K. Vaughan is another guy who's had tons of TV shows made and done independent creator-owned comics.
And Grant Morrison, forgot about him.
Grant Morrison is also
Grant Morrison, an all-time.
Yeah, those are all great creators. You find anything from them?
But I think he had the Invisibles, which was pretty crazy, and you got Saga too.
Oh, but that's Brian K. Vaughan. Yeah.
That's Brian K. Vaughan.
That should be a sci-fi movie soon. Or science fiction. Not the channel, but a movie that is science fiction.
There's a lot of fucking good comic book shit out there that they still haven't touched yet.
Saga could be the next Star Wars if they do it right on the big screen, you know?
What happened to that while we're on the tangent here, and then I'll shut up. What happened to that TV show they made with the kids that look like deer?
Oh, Sweet Tooth. Had 2 seasons.
That was based off a comic, right?
Yes.
That didn't work out?
Dan Lemire. It had 2 seasons. I don't know if it got canceled. Speaking of that, Rug's favorite show, you know how Ruggs has talked about The Recruit last couple of weeks? Canceled.
Oh. Have you guys watched Deliverance? That's the hot show that all the kids are talking about now.
Deliverance? No, Severance.
Severance. Excuse me. Severance.
Oh yeah.
I've watched 2 episodes.
Yo, Severance is the fucking trippiest original thing on TV right now.
That's the show that everyone talks about.
It's good.
Sometimes I'm not even sure what the fuck is going on, but it's still really compelling and entertaining.
Everybody's at the Severance right now.
Season 2.
That's if you go on Instagram and you follow any of the kids, they're putting on Severance at night.
Yo, you have to watch Severance or it gets ruined right away. But yeah, season 2 I'm enjoying. It's a fucking trippy show, man. But it is wholly original. Like there's nothing else like it I've seen before. Reacher season 3 also very good right now.
Yes, having lots of fun with Reacher.
Jack Reacher's great.
I feel like my favorite thing is when he had to strip down to his undies.
Yeah.
To swim across the most harsh water to the car.
Yes.
And then the woman's there and she's like, he just takes his wet undies off and hands them to her
in front of her. And she's just
standing there naked and she's checking him out. And he's like, give me those. And he takes the clothes and he just puts them on.
Also, he flips over a car essentially.
Yeah, he flips by himself.
Over. It's great. It's great.
There's some fun stuff there.
Highly recommend it. All right, that's it. Next week, Invincible. Season 3 finale. We will talk about the whole season. Can't wait to see what happens. In the meantime, Anthony, where are you going to be?
Where can the people find me?
Where can the people find me?
They can find me. I have nowhere exciting than I am this week. So
Boo.
I'm just hanging out.
Lame.
Okay.
Just hanging out. My Instagram feed is now just full of people and their diets because I'm just on this like healthy eating diet. For those that I don't think I've said this on the show, I haven't had a drip of alcohol in a month.
Whoa.
Yeah, which is, when someone like me, I'm usually getting blasted every weekend. So
yeah,
I'm on this whole eating clean, no drinking, working out all the time, getting my sleep. So my Instagram feed is just a bunch of like shirtless dudes with abs and what they eat.
And what do they eat? It's just chicken and broccoli.
No. It's all just real food. They basically, the whole theme here is eat real food. No
protein shakes.
Some of them do. Yeah, I'll do protein shakes, but it's like I'm going to have 2 pieces of steak and 3 kiwi and 2 eggs and, so like
63 grams of protein, bro. You got to try it.
And then you just get the macros on all that.
I've hit my macros with this dish. Let me show you how to do it, brother.
Exactly. Why are you talking like Macho Man Randy Savage?
I don't know. I've seen these videos, though.
Yeah.
You meal prep, check this out.
Yeah, and I got a great recipe.
Yeah.
Low calorie, lots of protein. Easy to make.
I watch some of those videos. I like to watch when the guys are like, look at all the shit that you can eat. And so they make like this giant omelet.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's only 500 calories.
You're like, wait a minute, really? That's a lot of food there, buddy.
The omelet's the size of a fucking pizza.
Yeah, it's like a pizza.
It's huge.
Yeah, it's fun.
I'm like, you gotta eat all that? He's like, yeah, you gotta get your protein in.
6,000 grams of protein in every serving.
That's it. Some of those are pretty funny.
I'm like, who's fucking eating that? I'm like, not that I couldn't eat that much, but I couldn't eat that much egg.
Yeah,
dude, I can eat. I love eggs. I can eat eggs all day long.
But it'll be like 5 eggs plus like 3 pieces of toast with salmon on top of each piece, and then like 5 kiwis, and then a piece of steak.
Like, what kind of farts are you ripping?
5 avocados sliced up.
I will tell you, since I've begun this journey and been protein shake egging. Yeah. I rip farts all the time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. All the time. You blast off when you fucking
in bed. My butthole cannot wait to get out of bed and take a shit. I stick it up my asshole. I wake up in the middle of the night farting.
No,
you wake. Oh, that's a lot of fiber. You wake yourself up with your farts,
and then I'm just so lazy to get up to the toilet, but my butt's like, go to the toilet. And I just fight myself to go back to bed.
You ever like wake up mid fart and you're like, you're mad that you missed the beginning of it? Look how it started.
What? Oh, I just caught the end of it. Shit.
Yeah, like that was probably a
It stinks. It stinks.
Isn't he wakes up? He's just floating in the air, suspended by methane gas.
It's like that scene from Nightmare on Elm Street where I'm like the lady's floating. It's just me floating with farts.
He's just pressed up against the wall because like he farted himself.
Someone lights a cigarette and the whole place explodes. Yeah. Great. That's a movie. We're going to write that. All right. Enough of this bullshit. Rugs, where can the people find you online?
Rugboy Show on Twitter, now X. Come follow me.
And you can find that link in our episode description on our website, jockandnerd.com. Thank you for listening to the Jock and Nerd Podcast. My name is Imran.
My name's Anthony.
He's the Jock.
And he's the nerd.
We'll fart you next time.
I love farting.
I like turtles.
I like farting on turtles.
Sometimes it may be good, sometimes it may be shit.
Jock and Nerd